Hello,
everybody.
YouTubers. How's everybody doing tonight? Hope you guys are all doing well. Great to see you guys in chat. We got a great show for you coming up tonight. Hello, Cryptoville, Sam, Anna, Heather, Sugar Britches, Sherry, Rudy, Ristall, Stingray, Fruition, Chris Clough. How you doing, brother? ND Southpaw, brother Larry. So many people in chat. So we got a great show for you tonight. I got another amazing guest. I know you're really going to like what he has to say because you've probably never heard it before. But we're also celebrating our 5,000 subscriber milestone tonight. So thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Very, very humbly for sticking with us for over a year. And we're going to be giving away a lot of stuff there at the end of the show. So you guys will want to stick around. Don't leave, whatever you do.
Hey, J-Tish.
Yeah, J-Tesh, hello.
Lorna, Catherine,
Everybody.
Nikki,
Goshawk.
Goshawk.
Brother Charlie. Hello to all my good friends. So great to see all of you tonight. Before we get started here, Letitia has a few things that she needs to say, all right?
Okay, guys. So tonight we have prayer requests. We need prayer requests, please, from all of our prayer warriors for Sherry Griffey, Keith Carpenter, Cindy, wife of Cowboy 4572. He is one of our members. Sam Burton, William Denton, who is the father of Daryl Denton. Jen Cruz from She Squatchers. Holly Vincent's friend Cynthia Sears' husband, and some friends and co-workers of hers that are needing prayer requests. Renee Henderson's loved ones. Harper Faulkner, she had a heart attack and is a friend of Lead Tracker E. Trey Hood, who's dealing with cancer. He's one of our members. He's a single dad, and he could really use some prayers. And Melissa Michelle. So that's our prayer request. Please, guys, if you would, help us pray for them. They need all they can get.
Absolutely.
I want to say thank you to all of our new members and our new subscribers. We want to say thank you to everybody in general who's been with us all along, and all of our new guys. Remember, please, new members, send your birthdays to lmsmith1970@hotmail.com. I need your birthdays. We'd love to do shout outs for you. We need to do this week shout out to Beth Wojcicki. Beth, our friend.
2 days ago.
On
Happy
the
birthday,
13th.
Beth.
So now we have a special thanks to everybody who's donated to us. We have been able to buy 2 really good flashlights, and we have been able to buy a microphone for our camera.
Yes.
We are definitely working on and trying our best to get signal boosters for our phones. So when we're out in the field, everybody, I know it gets a little crazy out there and we lose signal, but when we're out there, we're out there, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. We're trying. We're doing our best. So thank you for all your donations. That's what it's going towards. Now I want to do a thank you to Texas Front Porch. He has given us a $25 gift card to give away tonight. PRT, Josh Turner, Nellie Turner, they're giving away some books tonight. They've donated. Blondes and Booze, they're doing a gift card. Thank you so much, Jitesh Patel. I hope I'm not slaughtering your name. Jitesh, we appreciate you more than you know.
Thank you, brother.
I said Blondes and Booze for your gift certificate. Fit Michigan Rob for a book.
He's donating a copy of his book.
Martin Groves for a book. We will also be giving away some copies of Inhumanoids signed by Bart, and some 8x10 prints from Bart.
Art prints, yes.
Yep. I need winners to send your name and address at the end of the show to lmsmith1970@hotmail.com. All of that is in the ticker at the bottom of the page. I need your full name, your address, and if you don't care, throw your YouTube handle in so I can figure out who I'm talking to. So that's all I need to talk about. And you ready to get Bob on? Or do you
I'm ready. Let's bring Bob from Michigan in.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Here we go. Oh, thanks to my moderators and Brandy.
Yes, Hollywood, Krista. We love y'all.
We love you guys. Here we go.
Okay, Bob, you there?
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for the listeners that joined in. And it's an honor to be on your show, Barton.
Well, it's
Sorry
on.
about the technological problems.
Yeah,
I'm glad we're here.
yeah, I'm so glad you decided to do this and come forward with your knowledge concerning these dogmen up there in Michigan. Now, as you know, you and I have been speaking for a couple of months now, but the listeners don't know anything about you. Just what I released in the video, the last video. So we'll start by telling everybody, just give us a little bit of background about yourself.
Okay, I grew up in a real small town. Okay, I live in the middle of Michigan. I grew up in a small town called Elto. Okay, and it was country setting. They joked because in Spanish Elto means stop, and we used to joke if you blinked you'd miss it. Okay, I was born in 1975. I went to school at Elto Elementary, and I went to a preschool in Cascade when I was young. We lived originally. Most of these encounters happened within like a 5 to a 10 mile radius of each other at the tops. Okay.
Okay.
When I was a kid, I was a late life baby. So I have siblings, but they're way older than me. Like the oldest one next to me is like 15 years older. So by the time I was 3, 4, 5 years old, they were all moving out for the most part, living their own lives. And we had a huge farm. It had a house that had 20 rooms in it. And the joke was it was called the castle. And anyways, I grew up out in the country. My family, they weren't really big hunters. They were more into like we had horses when I was young. We always had chickens. We had an array of goats when I was young. I remember that too. And for a short time, my parents were not that this matters, but kinda. For a short time, they were foster parents. So I can remember when I was real young that I had a foster brother named Mikey that was real young, and he called my dad Harvey for some reason, and we could never figure out why he called my dad Harvey. But anyways, I grew up in a Dutch family. My dad was from the Netherlands. My mom was from Kentucky. She was Irish and German and English. I was raised with an open mind towards things, okay, because on my mom's side of the family, it was rumored that we had the gift, I guess. Okay. So I wasn't raised to disbelieve in things. I was just raised to be cautious of things. But to pay attention to what's going on around you. And my grandma was a very open-minded person. She grew up out in the country. Um, I guess I could say to you that I grew up, as a typical '80s kid. Like literally, if I watch ET or Stranger Things, I remember playing Dungeons and Dragons on that same board when I was a kid.
Right.
We grew up riding BMX bikes, fishing. I spent a lot of time roaming the countryside because that's what was out there. We had dirt bikes. I had motorcycles in my life. Um, I've encountered a lot of unusual things. I mean, one time I found a badger in our barn. Whoever finds a badger in their barn, you know. But back when I was younger in Michigan at that time, there was. I just want to make this real clear. There was not any bear down here to speak of. Okay. There wasn't cougar down here to speak of. Like in the 70s and 80s, they really just weren't around. Okay. So
Right.
to be
Thank you,
honest with
Cindy.
go
Thank
ahead.
you, Shade Baggin. Go ahead. Brother, go
Oh,
ahead. I'm sorry.
oh, you're okay. Now I'm a 48-year-old man. Most of my life I've done construction. I was raised in a home where the majority of the family business was residential tile, marble, and granite. I got in for a short time. Well, not for a short time, but for a number of years, I got into bodybuilding, doing personal fitness training. I enjoyed going for walks in nature. Um, just things were different for me, so I was always more observant. Okay.
Right.
But it wasn't always so much that I was afraid of things. It's just that you have to understand, just being honest, when you encounter these creatures, you could just daydream for a second, turn around, and they're right there.
Right.
Okay.
Excellent. Excellent, Bob. So tell us how old you were when you first started seeing this dog man that belly crawled up to your window at night.
Okay. The very,
Tell
very
us about
first
that.
time, Barton, I remember seeing this creature is one of my first memories that I have. My siblings were all much older than me, like I said, and they had girlfriends and stuff, and they were hippies, and they would jump in and skinny dip in the pool at night. Okay. And when I think about this, I had to have been, I'm gonna say between 3 and 4. Okay. I was trying to get out the slider door to go down and get in the pool because I love the water. Okay. They couldn't keep me out of it. They said I was half fish. Okay. And so I was trying to get out the slider door and it wasn't locked. And I started to open up the slider because I could hear them in there. And probably they didn't want me out there. They're probably skinny dipping or something. They were teenagers, you know. But I started to open the door. And all of a sudden, this creature came around the corner of the house. And I remember thinking at first it was a giant dog or wolf. I really didn't know. I knew what a dog was. I knew what animals were. I grew up on a farm.
Yeah.
But we had a little dog for a short time named Frisky that was mean and it was small. Okay.
Thank
So
you,
it didn't look anything like what I knew a dog to look like. And it walked up by the slider and I know my siblings didn't see it. I backed up because I didn't know what was happening, like because it moved up real slow. And I leaned forward and I shut the door and locked it. Okay. And it was laying really low. I still thought at that moment, looking out at it, I remember being afraid of how big it was because it seemed big. It was big, like big, 8 foot long, real muscular. Its eyes were glowing. That really set me off for a minute. I backed up and it just kind of looked in the window at me. And this is what happened. It looked in the window at me. It looked over at my siblings in the pool and it put its finger up to its mouth like, shh. And it kind of smiled at me.
Wow.
I know this doesn't make sense what I'm saying. This is kind of how it appeared to me. And then it shot off like a
what
rocket.
makes sense and what doesn't, brother. Just tell the truth.
I'm just
That's all
okay.
you have to worry about. We don't care who believes you or who don't, as long as you're telling the truth. What
I
color
thought
was its eyes? You said its eyes were glowing.
It came around the corner and it looked in at me and it looked over at them and it raised up and it was crouched still.
Thank you, Hop.
It was tall. Like I remember looking up at it, even crouched. It seemed like it was like 5 foot tall. And it raised its fingers to its lips like a human. And it went shh. And it darted off on all four, lightning fast.
Right. What color was its eyes?
Its eyes were a brilliant turquoise blue or like a fluorescent blue. When I say brilliant, I don't mean they're shining like a flashlight. More like if you were to take like an opaque window and shine a blue light through it. It's kind of how it looked. I don't know really how to explain it because it kind of emanated off of it.
Yeah.
Okay. And when it shot away, it seemed wispy or blurry. I can remember that I didn't quite understand what I saw. About the time I should have been afraid, I wasn't because it was already gone. And I didn't really think a whole lot of it. I didn't, I was young. I didn't know really what to process out of it. Okay.
Right.
Now, when I go forward on this, please understand I've had several encounters. And to be honest with you, sometimes when I think about them when I'm really young, they kind of bleed together a little bit. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was a night owl. I get this from my mom. So I had a flashlight I had taken out of the tool drawer and I'd hid it under my bed like most kids did. And I would play with my toys at night in my bedroom. And as long as I was quiet, my parents didn't think a whole lot of it.
Welcome, Donna.
And this had to have been, I don't know how much time passed between this, but I'm going to say probably, I'm going to guess a few months because I was in preschool at this time. And they had showed us pictures of wildlife in there and stuff like that. And I saw a picture of a wolf and coyote. And I remember looking at those and thinking, that wasn't what I saw. And I didn't really bring it up. And I was playing with, if I remember right, I think it was either Star Wars or G.I. Joe toys. One of those two, maybe He-Man, something like that. I was playing with those and I would play with them on the windowsill with the flashlight propped up. And I was playing with these and in the background, I saw something up in the trees. And at first I wasn't sure what I was seeing in the tree. And then I realized what was in the tree was lowering itself down out of a tree. And it lowered all the way to the ground. And I recognized it. I knew it was the same creature I'd saw before. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, everybody's asleep. The window's open. What is this doing out there? And it belly crawled up in the shadows. It never hardly ever went to light. This thing always stayed in the shadows. And it belly crawled up to the window and it stood up and was looking in the window down at me while I was playing on this windowsill. So I backed up, and I remember shutting the light off. Like, I don't know. I knew it didn't like the light, but I kind of had, like, now that I'm older, I know the light might have attracted it because I was playing and it was facing this big open field. Okay. And there was barns. There was one that we didn't use anymore. We didn't really have horses anymore. My parents were downsizing because my brothers and sisters are moving out. So anyways, I remember it standing and looking at me, and I felt like hypnotized, kind of, or like glamored maybe, or like I felt like I was daydreaming and I couldn't control the daydream. That's the best way I can explain it. And I was caught up in looking in its eyes, and it started to ask questions that were choppy, like how old are you? Um, how old are you? Why do you tear down trees and build houses? I mean, this is the
Right now,
things it was asking.
now, it didn't actually ask you these questions with its mouth, but you're talking about mental images and mental telepathy when you say that, correct?
Yes, yes. I do believe that these creatures have their own language. I've heard what is commonly phrased like Russian backwards with a growly overtone to it.
Yeah.
I've never had it speak with its mouth to me. No, not that I remember. No.
Right. Always
No.
telepathically.
Yes. Yes. It asked, like, this is gonna sound weird, but it didn't call it a family. It didn't call it a pack either. It asked about my gathering or like blood. So it asked some questions about my brothers and sisters. It asked a couple of questions about my parents. It wanted to know what certain things were. Like this is gonna sound weird, but like it wanted to know what some of the noises it could hear was. Okay. Yeah. I finally realized it was talking about the microphone or the microwave. It was talking about hearing the TV, things like that. And I think it was trying to like find some cognitive of understanding with a child. Okay. Okay.
Right.
Oftentimes, like when it would come up, it would look sparkly almost, like you know how welder's flashes look.
Yeah.
That would sometimes look like it was on its feet and on its hair, kind of. There was times that I would hear drum beats, and it would almost be like at first you thought you were hearing a drum beat, and then it was your heartbeat. There was some type of it could breathe in and make sound as it breathed in, and there was some type of like resonance that was going on with that. I don't quite know what that was, but it was almost like its heartbeat was synchronizing with mine or something. Okay.
Yeah, that's
And
strange.
a lot of times it would start to sound like music as I was looking at it. And then it would almost sound like the music went backwards. And the best way I can explain it is it would sound like choppy carnival music. Okay. Yeah. And it almost would sound like Pac-Man when it dies.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that was, but whenever that noise came about, I would never remember falling asleep. And I would wake up in the morning and it was like I almost dreamed it.
Yeah.
And then there was times that noise would happen.
Do you think this thing puts you to sleep telepathically, Bob?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, I do.
Okay. I hope everybody's listening to this in the chat.
I'll tell you why.
You're associated with
I'll tell you why.
You have to realize that dogmen are simply a different version of inhumanoids. Go ahead, Bob.
Okay. No, absolutely, this creature was capable of putting people to sleep. It would put my parents to sleep so I could sneak around the house and look at stuff and eat food and okay. The dog would never bark. That frisky dog we had was different. That dog was always different, okay? But that dog never barked. That dog would be asleep. Okay?
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't know where you want me to go farther with it, but basically over time it would ask certain questions. Sometimes it would show mental images of things.
Like what? What kind of mental images did it show you?
Okay, it would show me things from its perspective when it was moving through the woods or like it was moving around. And to me that was really thrilling when I was young. Because I literally was seeing like from eye level, like what it was doing when it was moving through the trees and things like that. it showed me different images of like landscape that I still don't understand what it was showing to this day. Like it showed a circle of stones and it showed it to me several times. I have a feeling it's around Mole somewhere, but I don't know where.
Right.
It showed me like, okay, there's spots north of Lowell where there's islands in the water. And it showed me that it would go to those places and sleep at night sometimes. Okay. Then there was like there was an imagery of a what looked like a plane, and it would show me this image of this plane one time, and I think it just wanted to know what the plane was, maybe.
Right.
Okay. Gosh, let me think.
So
Um,
in your email, you said this thing when you saw it one time, and it was wearing Indian accoutrements, and
Thank you, Lone Star.
yeah, thank you, Lone Star.
yes,
What?
I can say this: the very first time I saw it, I don't remember those things.
Yeah.
But when it started coming up to the window, it would have a turquoise stone, and the stone did look polished. Okay, it did
Mhm.
look polished, but it was in like this leather strap that went around its left arm. When
Yeah.
I was a child, it had two war braids on the left side of its head. The last time I saw it, which
War
was about
braids.
2012, it had four war braids. Now, I don't know what that means to the creature. Okay, I don't.
Mhm.
It had a satchel when I was young. It had like a doeskin satchel. I don't know exactly what it had in it, but it looked like it had berries and things like that in it. Okay, that's what it looked like. Oftentimes, if I was outside and it came around, it started to do this more as I became a little bit older. Like I know when I was about 5, there was a number of times I saw it when it was overcast and foggy. I have seen this creature come into the area looking like mist and then turn into this wolf. I've seen it turn into what looked like a Native American. Now, please hear me out. I know that there's been a tremendous amount of broadcasts about Skinwalker Ranch, all those things. I don't personally believe that this is a human turning into this creature. I think this creature is simply masquerading as a human to get around people.
Right.
Okay. Okay. I'm of firm conviction they can change into anything they want. Now, here's what I can say about that. There's always a distortion in whatever it's looking like. And with this creature, the eyes were always blue. That was a giveaway every time.
Wow.
Okay.
Now,
Um,
now have you seen any other types of dogmen up there in Michigan, Bob?
okay. For the
The,
longest
the
time
ones
in
with
my
blue
life,
eyes.
sorry about that. For the longest time in my life, I thought what I saw, and this isn't human ego, I thought I saw something that I shouldn't talk about. I saw something that doesn't exist. Okay. And I honestly, for a long time, thought that there was only one, really. Okay. And I don't mean that I disbelieved everybody else's story. I had only ever really encountered one for most of my life, and that changed. That
Mhm.
changed drastically. Let's see. Okay. The encounters went from the time I was about 3 to almost 6. We moved from that property to a place closer in Alto on 60th Street. And then for the longest time, I never had a visual encounter. I can't honestly say to you if I thought it was watching me. I never really had that feeling. And I kind of almost, in a way, kind of talked myself out of that it kind of happened. Okay.
Mhm.
And all that changed when I was 12. Um, I've thought long and hard about this, and I found out some other things after you and I have talked about this, Barton. Okay. Um, when I was 12, we used to go behind the school down at the Alto Elementary School that I played at. Okay. We would go down there on the weekends. We were, the BMX crew. We'd go down there and we'd have BB guns wars. Okay. We would shoot at each other with BB guns. Now, I know it's not safe, but that's what we did in that era. Okay.
Yeah.
So we were down there, and this was 2 weeks before this actually happened again, but we were down there, and I remember all of us feeling a little freaked out, like we were being watched or something was following us through the woods. So we kind of left early that day. And then we went back down there, and it was raining really hard, and we decided not to play. So it had been a couple of weeks since us kids had really gotten buck wild with each other out there playing. And this was my stomping grounds. I went to this area all the time. It was 2 blocks from my house. Okay. My parents had built a new house. I believe it was the summer between 5th and 6th grade, maybe 6th and 7th. And anyways, I would try to beat my buddies down there. There was about 6 or 7 of us that hang together. I would try to beat my buddies down there to get into the woods first, because then you could ambush whoever was showing up. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I remember there was dandelions all over the place. I remember the grass was really high. I dropped my bike real quick. I had my BB gun. This was daylight. This was a bright, shiny day. I crouched down and was trying to figure out if my friends had beat me there or not. And I heard something like, now that I think about it a lot, maybe this creature ran across the gravel, skidded across the gravel, slid, something. I heard something kick up the gravel up near the train trestle. And when I looked over there, I didn't see anything. And I looked back in front of me, and I remember being crouched, and I felt something behind me, and I felt something behind me, and I turned and looked, and as I was turning and looking, this creature either sneezed, coughed, barked, growled, made some type of noise. It wasn't coherent to me what the noise was, but I felt saliva hit the back of my neck, or snot. I'm just being real. That's what happened. I turned around, and when I looked up, I didn't see it. But when I looked down at the creek, which I was crouched at, I could see this creature standing behind me, and its teeth were kind of bared. Its ears were kind of back. It looked irritated. I'd never seen that before. And when I looked back over my shoulder, it was visible to me. Okay. And it was leaned over me. And the only thing I could figure out it was trying to do is it was irritated that I had that gun. So I threw the gun away and went, it's not real. It's not real. It's just a BB gun. It's just a BB gun. We shoot at our friends with it. And I remember being crouched, hoping it went away. And when I looked up, it was still looking over me, but it didn't look irritated. It kind of looked at me like it was confused, maybe. Okay. And I remember it's what's that?
This was a different Dogman, not the blue-eyed Dogman.
No, this is the blue-eyed one. I'm getting to that. Okay.
Gotcha.
So I'll get to that one real quick. Okay. So I saw the blue-eyed one again when I was 12. So then years went by. Years and years and years went by. There were a few weird things that happened, a few weird noises. Felt like I was washed a few times. And I was not in Michigan for a number of years. And I came back to Michigan in 2006. Okay. In 2007-ish, I started dating a woman that lived north of Louisville here. Okay. Long story short, her and I were living together. Things were good. The property we lived on was haunted. The houses I grew up in were haunted. Okay. That was a very prominent thing that was going on there. It wasn't bad haunting.
Actually, not a surprise.
Okay. It wasn't bad haunting. It was like an intelligent haunting. Okay. The landlord's father-in-law had lived in the house that we rented for years and years and years. And a number of times we seen him visibly in the house, seen him out in the yard. Sometimes you would hear like him laugh. And this was something that we commonly accepted. And I was working 2 jobs, and our children weren't home. They were at friends' houses. And my fiance called me scared and told me to come home. And I'd never heard her scared like that before. She told me, get home, there's something outside. Get home, there's something outside. It's staring in the windows. And she wasn't a drama queen. So when she's rattling this off as fast as she is, I'm kind of like, what in the world's going on? So I took off straight from work because of the fear in her voice. I sent my boss a text while I was driving and told him, I got to go home. Kathy's scared. I shouldn't have said her name. She was scared.
Right.
So I got up to the house. She was inside. She wouldn't let me in. I didn't feel anything. But everything was dead quiet. Okay, there was no noises, and we live next to the woods. There's always noises. So I'm looking around, and I'm not thinking it's one of these creatures. I just hadn't. I mean, it's been 20 years.
Yeah.
So she wouldn't let me in. And my daughter ended up showing up home because she didn't feel good. And my daughter came up to me and was talking to me, and that's when my fiance opened the door and let me in. Okay.
Once you heard your daughter's voice?
Yes, she saw my daughter actually talking to me outside,
Okay.
and she opened the door and let me in. She wouldn't tell me what happened right away. Okay. God, let me think about this.
Happy
She didn't.
birthday, Catherine.
She wouldn't tell me what happened right away, and then I think later in the night she woke me up and told me.
Mhm.
And she had said that what happened was, and I'm not trying to recount somebody else's story, but this is where it started, where I saw other ones. She told me that she looked out the window and she was on the back patio, and the screen was there, and our porch light was off. It would burn out once in a while. It had burned out like maybe a day or two before, and she thought it was our landlord's dog, Bella, that was an Irish Wolfhound. She would sometimes come over and want to see if the kids were there and play and stuff. And she thought that the dog was sitting outside of the screen. Well, she said, Bella, go home a couple times. Bella, go home a couple times. And she kind of half-heartedly kicked at the screen to get the dog to move. And that's when the dog stood up. And as it was standing up, it turned into this 9-foot tall, all black, including its teeth, red-eyed werewolf. That's what she tells me. Okay.
Wow. Black teeth, everything black, even its teeth, except for
Even its teeth. Okay.
Of course, I've heard of that.
She said that when she kicked at it and it stood up, it started to growl and was staring at her. She backed up into the house, and this creature actually crouched and leaned into the patio and was looking, craned its neck around and was looking up at her while she was shutting the slider. As she ran to each window, this creature would beat her to the window and just be standing there staring at her. Okay.
Yeah.
She tells me that I'm instantly wide awake. I'm out of bed. All the lights are on. I was scared. Okay, because here's why. I only thought there was one. Now there's two. So, gosh, dates. I'm going to say this happened in like the fall of 2007. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple nights went by, and I confided in her about the same type of creature I saw that had blue eyes. Okay. Then what happened was some time went by. I'm not exactly sure. It was within a couple weeks. Yeah, it was within a couple weeks. I'm laying there in bed. I'm facing the window, but I'm asleep on my stomach, which was weird. I usually didn't sleep like that. And I wake up to hearing this. It sounds like kind of like a boar and a pit bull mixed. And I can't imitate it, but if you know what a boar sounds like and you know what a pit bull sounds like, it was mixed. That's what it sounded like to me. Okay.
Right.
And I kept hearing this noise, and I was so tired because I was bodybuilding. I was always tired. So I'm laying there, and I really just don't want to wake up to look out the window. And the last thing I was thinking was any of this. Okay. I look out the window, and this all black Dogman is he's right in front of my window, like 20 feet away. And I'm hearing this chittering noise, and it comes to me that it's a raccoon I'm hearing. And I look over, and I'm looking out the window, and as my eyes are focusing, I see this all black looking Dogman with red eyes. And it's taking one step. It's rocking backwards and then leaning forward, and it's putting one foot on the trunk of the tree to jump up and try to grab this raccoon. And this thing is jumping like 15, 20 feet in the air. And every time it's hitting the ground, there's thud, and it like resonates.
Mm-hmm.
About the fourth time, now this went on like 8 or 9 times, but about the fourth time I saw it do what it was doing, it caught this raccoon. And when it hit the ground, it twisted it. And it turned to look dead at me. My face was a foot from this window. This thing is 20 feet away from me. Now, please understand, these creatures don't move like humans, tigers, cheetahs, any of those things. It's like everything moves at once. And it's lightning fast like a chipmunk, but it's 9 foot tall and 400 pounds. Okay.
Yeah.
It turns and looks at me, and I'm froze. Okay. I mean, my face is a foot from the window. This one definitely always radiated fear. Sometimes you would feel frustrated. confused. Your thoughts would be scattered. It runs up to the window. And I do got to say, earlier that night, we had watched Jurassic Park with our kids before they left at dinner time. After they had left, I heard, and my fiance heard that dinosaur roar noise come from the woods. And she thought I did it through the window, joking, and I didn't have an answer for her. And that was probably about 5 or 6 hours before this went down in the middle of the night. Okay. So all I'm saying to you is I think these creatures mimic noises that they hear off the TV. They mimic noises that they hear us say. They can mimic all kinds of sounds, I've come to realize. Okay.
Yeah, so that's something that's a characteristic trait of Bigfoot. They like to mimic other animals.
When this creature
that concerning Dogman. So,
it's hard to explain when this creature advanced towards the window. It wasn't like it was running up to the window to snatch me out of it. It ran up to the window about 4 feet from it, leaned forward, and it made this dinosaur roar noise through the window. Okay. When it did that, it felt like the Jake brake on a semi went through the bedroom. Okay.
Well, you can actually feel it.
I couldn't see. I could hear, but it was like if I was underwater, maybe. The wind was instantly knocked out of me. I fell to the floor and hit my face before I could get my hands in front of me. As I was coming to and looked up, it was still standing there looking at me. And then it ran away with this raccoon off into the woods. How fast they are, it was. I know this is cliche. It was a blur. Okay, it looked almost like a shadow moving through the trees, like literally a shadow. Okay,
Right.
I recovered from it faster than my fiance did. Okay, I got up, I turned all the lights on in the house, and we left that night. Okay, I backed the car right up to the door, and we got out of there. I took her to her parents' house. We stayed over there with them. They didn't ask a whole lot of questions. I just told them because we had some issues with coyotes back then. Okay. The bigger the pack of coyotes get, and this is kind of a learning curve for us in Michigan, the cockier they get. So they, a lot of times, would be making noise in the woods. But here's the thing. I'm of a firm belief that these creatures push those coyotes, that they hunt them, that they push them. If they're in their area, they push them out. When the creatures run around, the coyotes weren't. And when the coyotes were around, the creatures weren't. And that went on quite a bit. Anyways, about 3 nights passed. We're up at the house. Things are tense. The kids know we're scared. Okay, which isn't good. Anytime your kids know you're scared, it's never good. Okay. We're asleep. And everything seems normal. It's snowing out. It was the first night it really snowed hard. And I'm going to say about 1 or 2 in the morning. This was the winter of 2007. About 1 or 2 in the morning, there was this loud thud. And it came from the roof. The whole house shook. We lived in a nice double wide that was on a solid foundation, and it was a good spot, but it felt like a cardboard box when this went down. I instantly knew it was one of these creatures. Okay. I didn't know which one. I got up and I grabbed a machete. I had made a commitment, like I told you, Barton, before, that I was going to confront these things. Okay. I proceed to walk as quietly as I can, and I'm pretty quiet for a big guy. I proceed to walk as quiet as I can through the house, and I realize that whatever's on the roof is pacing me. Like if I stop, it stops. And if I take like half a step, it takes half a step. But it's not quite on cue. My fiance's following me, and she's mouthing to me, WTF, WTF. I get out to the slider, and I open the slider, and I know that whatever's out there can hear the slider. I know that. So I open the slider, and my best thought is I'm going to run out to the yard and look up to see what's on the roof. In my head, I was praying and hoping it wasn't going to necessarily be one of these encounters. Okay, because rarely you'll hear, we do have cougars back up here, and sometimes animals will crawl up on the roof if they're cold to warm up. that's something animals do.
Mhm.
But I knew it wasn't that. And when I darted backwards and looked up at the roof, I didn't see anything immediately. And then I saw this creature put its hands on the edge of the roof, and it slid itself to the edge of the roof, and it looked down at me. And it was the blue-eyed Dogman from my childhood.
Mhm.
Okay. There was a strange deja vu feeling that happened. I almost fainted. Okay. I was upset though. My family was scared. Um, I looked over and I saw both of my daughters looking out the window with my fiance, and I know that they could see this up on the roof. And these creatures understand people. Don't think for a second that these creatures are these dumb wild animals running around, and they have all this power and they have all this physical strength, but they're dumb. These creatures are not stupid. They understand
Yeah.
your thoughts. Okay. So
Right.
when I came out, I shouted at it to get off the roof, and I shouted at it like you would if you were mad at a human, kind of. And it looked at me kind of confused, and I projected images of this red-eyed dogman, at this blue-eyed dogman that's up on the roof. Okay,
Mhm.
and it looked kind of confused, and it was looking down at me, and I told it I didn't want it around there anymore, and I didn't want them on our property, and I yelled at it to get off the roof. It jumped over me like 20, 30 feet, landed in the snow. It didn't leave any tracks. It started to walk away, and I pursued it. Okay, stupidly pursued this creature. And what happened was it got up by the tree line, it turned around and just stared at me. And when I got about, it moved all the way across my yard like in 4 seconds, and it would take me like 15 running full tilt in the snow. So I'm running at this creature, and I'm realizing that this is a really futile thing despite my best efforts. Okay. And I get probably 30 feet from it, and I'm committed to swinging at this creature. And all of a sudden in my head, I hear don't. And it's pretty loud. Okay. Loud enough to where I didn't see for a second when it said don't. And then I heard it again, and it echoed in my head, don't. And somehow, some way, this creature made me lock up. I remember standing like in a half stance, and I dropped the machete, and I thought I was going to get killed. It backed up and said, don't, one more time, really loud in my head, telepathically, and it turned around and it hit the woods. I thought that the whole thing was only about 5 minutes. When I got in the house, it had been like 25, 30 minutes, which was strange. I can't explain that.
Wow.
My fiance saw it. My 2 daughters saw it. They had a ton of questions, wanted to know what was going on. Is that why we were scared? What was that? And at that point, I didn't know what to expect. I was scared to even go out and get the machete. I left the machete laying in the backfield for a week.
Yeah.
Nothing happened for a week. Nothing. But the entire woods was always quiet. There wasn't animals around like there usually was. I felt like I was watched a lot. So did my other siblings or my other family. Okay, my daughters and my fiance felt that way too. The only thing I knew is occasionally this creature would ask for blueberries and venison jerky. So I went and worked out like I usually did. I took the tank top I had. I stopped at the store and went to the meat market. I got some venison jerky. I put some berries, and I put this together and I put it on a tank top out near where I knew that these creatures resided. Okay. And when I went out there, I sat out there and I sent a mental impression to this blue-eyed dog man.
Wow, we're getting some kind of interference there with your audio.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's some kind of clicking noise or something. I don't know if it's on this end or yours.
Oh, I don't think it's mine. Can you
Okay.
hear me okay?
Is your mic hanging from your earbuds?
Maybe. Give me 1 second. Sorry.
Yeah,
that
it's the wire.
Oh.
It's the wire hanging. Yeah,
Okay. Sorry
yeah,
about that.
that's good. That's
Okay.
all right. You got it.
Okay. I was trying to make peace with something that I had some affiliation with when I was young, but I didn't really understand what was happening. Okay.
Right.
So I left that out there as like a olive branch. Okay. Now I don't recommend anybody doing these things. Okay. And I'm gonna tell you why. It lures more of them in. Okay. I don't know if it was simply, there's many things I can say. I don't know if, people say, well, maybe you live near a portal or maybe this is why that happened. I don't really know. I just know that all of a sudden there's two dogmen.
Thank
The
you,
blue,
Pop.
the one did not appear to be aware of the other one. Okay.
Mhm.
Gosh, some time went by. Things were calmer for probably 3 weeks or so. Then I remember it was calmer for a few weeks or so. Then what happened was I was out in the woods one day and I was digging up scrap that my landlord had. He had a bunch of copper pipe and stuff like that he was saving until it was a good cachet to take to the scrapyard at the time. And I was loading that up, and I heard my daughter's voice coming from the woods. Okay, my daughter was in school. I knew this for a fact. She was a special needs child. She had health issues when she was young.
Yeah.
I kept close monitor on my daughter just for the simple fact that she got sick easier than most children, and sometimes it could be fatal for her if she caught the flu, for example. Okay.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I'm hearing my daughter's voice from the woods.
Thank you, Josh.
Okay. And I had my cell phone on me, and I called the school, and I demanded the front office to put my daughter on the phone. And I could hear my daughter talking to me at the same time. I could hear her voice coming from the woods still.
Yeah.
Okay.
Baby.
Good thing you didn't go in there, Bob.
What's that, Barton?
Good thing you didn't let that fool you.
Barton, even though I'm going to say this to you, it sounded so much like her that if I would have been distracted and other things wouldn't have happened, I would have walked back there. If I had never ever encountered any of these things and I heard that, I would have thought she was back there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the one thing about it though that didn't quite sound like her is it echoed. It had a faint echo at the end of it. Okay, and that the better judgment of me, everything in me said it sounds like your daughter, but that's not your daughter back there. Okay.
Right.
Gosh. Okay, so I'm hearing my daughter. After I made the phone call and I could hear these things simultaneously, all of a sudden, whatever was going on in the woods stopped. Okay. I heard a loud tree branch snap noise. Now, even though this was late daytime, it was kind of misty. It was drizzling a little bit that day. It was a little foggy out. Okay, not heavily, but a little bit. So it was overcast. Okay. I kept hearing loud tree branch snaps, real loud. And they were going around me. And it would always sound like the same noise each time. I was really rattled. I'm back here trying to get this copper up. Okay, I got the truck half loaded and everything. This is going on, and there was an air horn in the truck. Out of frustration, anger, because I was very suspicious it was one of these creatures, I was really suspicious it was the red-eyed one, okay? Mm-hmm. I broke out that air horn, and I blasted that air horn. And when I blasted that air horn, this dark form jumped up that was behind this tree, and it was in the crook of the tree. I remember watching his head drop, and it shot out of the bushes and went running back into the woods. And it was the all black looking Dogman. Okay.
Yeah. You feel threatened with that red-eyed one, but you felt kind of a sense of calm and peace with the blue-eyed one, right?
Yes. The blue-eyed one. Now, I know this is going to sound really stupid, okay? And I'm not saying I feel this way at this moment, but there was a time that I wasn't concerned if the blue-eyed one was even within reach of me. I just wasn't. Mm-hmm. It had never, ever did anything in any way that I'm aware of, okay? That I'm aware of. It didn't do anything in any way to ever threaten me, hurt me, scare me. Sometimes it would show off, okay? What's that? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I stepped outside. I pace when I talk sometimes. I'm sorry. It's a nervous thing. Where was I? Okay. Yes, the red-eyed one gave off instant like fight or flight. Um, there was a few times, just being honest with you, there was a few times my fiance and I started arguing for no reason at night in the yard. Okay, for no reason. It was like one sentence to the next. There was times that she like she said that she felt like scared, or like you would feel like a fight or flight, like danger right now. The red-eyed ones, I think, are definitely malevolent. Even if someone's interacting with them, it's not gonna go the way you think it's gonna. And the reason why I'm saying that is I think those ones are more rambunctious, flamboyant. They are seen more. People have more confrontational encounters with those ones. Okay, I don't think they get along.
So what makes you think that, Bob? What
Well,
makes you think the red-eyed ones don't get along with the blue-eyed ones?
I'm not saying it's always this way, but what happened was that red-eyed one ran away. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
about a week went by, and I saw the blue-eyed one at the edge of the field. And a lot of times, this one, because I'd seen it a number of times and I'd been around it a number of times, the shock factor wasn't so heavy. It was more kind of, oh, okay, he's out there in the woods. When it was out there, I was projecting that, okay, I do got to go backwards. There was nightmares that came from the red-eyed one. There was nightmares. All of us had nightmares. We had nightmares that it came up into the house and killed us. Okay.
Yeah.
When I saw that blue-eyed one out there moving around, I asked it its name. I just simply walked right out to the field, walking at it. What's your name? And there was nothing. What are you known by? Nothing. What are you known by? Nothing. And I persisted. And it literally like stopped and was crouched. It was watching me walk towards it. And then all of a sudden I saw a crescent moon in my head, and I saw the overlay of its claw in front of the moon.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what does that mean? And it showed it again, like in my head. And it kept doing it. And after 9 or 10 times, I all of a sudden, oh my God, you were known as Moonclaw. You have a nickname. And it kind of nodded and it backed up into the woods. And as it was backing away, I ran up by it, not super close. It was 30 feet away. And I projected the images of what this red-eyed one was doing. And I was saying to this creature in my head, I'm helpless. What do I do? Why is this one here? Do you understand that the humans around here will rally up and shoot at this thing? You're gonna get all this attention brought this direction. Well, why is this one out here? And it would not give me anything back. It just had this air of concern, and it took off into the woods. Okay.
Right.
A couple days goes by. I wake up in the morning. The night before this happened, I dreamed about it. Okay. Sometimes I have dreams that come true. People that know me know this. I had a dream that these creatures were fighting in the back field near where the burial mound was. Okay. Now, all I saw in the dream was the blue-eyed one and this red-eyed one wrestling and biting at each other and throwing each other around. But when one would throw the other one, it would land and it would flip the other one. And they were agile like cats. Okay. But so what happens is I wake up in the morning. I had this weird dream. The air was so dense around where we lived that you could cut it with a knife. And I'm not a betting man, but I would have bet everything I owned that night that something was going to happen. So I asked my fiance to leave. I told her I thought something was going to go down, and I thought it was going to be really dangerous, and I didn't want her and the kids up there. And they left, and I stayed up there all day at the house. And when it got to be about 8:30, 9 o'clock, I was out back, and all of a sudden, I still to this day don't know if it was this creature doing this, but I do think it was this creature doing this. I started hearing the word danger in my head. Danger. And it went on and on and on, like frantic, danger, danger. Like I said, I was certain something was going to happen. So I was dressed in all black. I had 3 pairs of socks on. I went running up into that woods headlong, dead weight for that field. Okay, because I had to know. I had to see. As I'm running up the hill, this red-eyed, all-black Dogman is running at me out of this area where this burial mound is.
So that's a Native American burial mound, right? An Indian burial mound?
Yes. It was in a square grove of trees that were all gnarled and dead. And they had claw marks all over them. If you got really close to them and looked, they had claw marks all over them. There was a big hole that was about 3.5 to 4 feet around that went inside this burial mound. Okay, I only ran and looked dead down into it for like 30 seconds. I was scared to be back there. Like, I felt like my life was completely in danger. Okay. I see this red-eyed Dogman running at me. It was about a 3/4 moon. Okay. I see this red-eyed Dogman running at me. And I thought for a split second that I'd been tricked or something. I see it running at me. I turn and look, and out of this cluster of trees, this blue-eyed Dogman comes bounding out of nowhere, jumps, and okay, and they go flipping and rolling, and it was, like I said, it's like a Jake brake on a semi. That was there was a growl mixed with that noise. Yeah. And they were biting each other really fast and quick, like a dog does when they lock onto each other. They sounded like a mixture between a boar, a wolf, pit bull kind of sound. I watched this. I'm not sure how long went on when I was watching this. I knew I was seeing something I shouldn't be seeing. I guess maybe 30 seconds this went on. They didn't act like they were trying to kill each other. It was like they were trying to make each other submit. I know that doesn't make any sense how I'm saying it, but they weren't like trying to rip each other's heads off. They were like trying to pin each other on the ground and stuff. Okay.
Right, trying to assert dominance over the other one.
Yes, that's what it seemed like. Okay. And in my wonder and bewilderment of what I was seeing, I stood up to see it more clearly because they were on the ground rolling around. All of a sudden, I saw behind them, there was a vibration sound, like static electricity almost. I turned and looked because I wasn't sure what I heard because these things were not super loud, but it was making as much noise as it made the vibration to the ground, I guess is the way to explain it. I stood up, not realizing I stood up. And I heard the vibration sound, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there was this oily film that looked like it was on water, and it was like a purplish color. Kind of almost like, I saw a picture tonight of it was a fruit fly's wing in a black background with like a neon light. It kind of looked like that, believe it or not. It was a really blotchy pattern, and it was spinning a little bit. This creature...
For a second.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, go ahead and say that again, Bob. We lost you for just a second there.
Okay, there was a circle that was about 6 to 8 feet around. It looked oily, like if you pour oil on water.
Mm-hmm.
It was mildly luminescent, like a purplish white. And this female Dogman, I can see her clearly. Never forget her. Never forget her. Stepped through this. And as she stepped through this, it wrapped around her, like behind her, and it was gone. And she was looking dead at me. And I heard in my head, you. But it was a growly, you, like a hiss. It was a hiss, okay? Now, here's the part that's the most eerie to me still to this day. It sounded like my mom if she was using a growly voice. That's what it sounded like. It hit the same treble, the same everything. Yeah. I turned and took off running because this thing had dropped and came at me after it made this noise. She was about 6'3". She had longer eyelashes, not because I saw this when I was running, but I've seen her 6 or 7 times. She was brown and gold brindle, a little bit of black in her. She had tufts of hair that stuck out the top of her ears, a lot like a fox. She kind of looks like a fox to me, to be honest, at times when I glanced at it and looked at it. She was running behind me, and I remember turning to look to see how close she was to me, because you can't outrun these things, okay? She was alongside me and she jumped up in the air and sprung off a tree like 20 feet ahead of me. And she circled me 3 times. And I was running probably across 10 acres of a field with this creature circling me. I'd never seen this creature before. I was screaming. I was yelling. I was panicked, man. Okay, I was scared.
Right.
I was running away, and like I said, she circled me 3 times, and then literally she ran up about 15 feet to my left alongside me like a jogger. Then she fell back behind me, ran around me on the right side like a jogger, and I hit the edge of the tree line and she stopped. As soon as I hit the edge of that tree line, she stopped, and I ran to my house. And I could see her standing at the tree line for about 10 seconds after I got up there, and she darted back into the woods. I got in my car and I got out of there.
Yeah. Can't blame you there.
She had glowing yellow eyes. She had shorter hair like a Doberman would. She had 2 rows of boobs. I remember thinking sarcastically when I was running, I'm going to get killed by a thundercat and nobody's going to know it.
Right.
When I say this, these are things I put together over a 4 or 5 year period sometimes, people. Okay. She had been shot at. She had a Dogman pup back there. She was the blue-eyed Dogman's mate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She didn't like humans. She didn't terrorize humans. But I think that, I'm going to tell you what I think happened that night. I think that the blue-eyed Dogman was in trouble. Please realize that he looks definitely more accomplished and he's definitely older and wiser. I can give you that. But the red-eyed Dogman is about a foot taller than him and about 100 pounds heavier. Okay. And I think he was in trouble. And I think that he called me out there as a distraction. What I think happened was I don't think the mate knew I was coming.
Yeah.
And this creature, now please understand, yeah, I told you this creature communicated with me. It interacted with me. But when it comes to things like that, the only things I can tell you is they mate for life. They will definitely lay their life on the line for their mate. They will definitely come out in the open over the mate. In the daylight, anything like that. I did not know that this creature had a mate and had a pup back there for a while. The one indicator I had was right after that stuff happened. I didn't know what to think, okay, because I didn't know. I got in the car and I left. Okay, so I didn't go up there for 2 days. And when I went up there, I drove up, left the car running, just sat in the driveway and watched what was happening. Just watch what was happening out there in the woods, making sure nothing's around. I got out and things were calm. There wasn't any feeling of anything. And I called my fiance. We went back to the house. Life returned normal for a while. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I would say probably a month went by. And once in a while, we would see what would look like a male and female Native American way off in the field with a child. And they would always have their heads turned away from us. And we would see this even if we had a campfire. Okay, there was easily 15, 20 people that saw what I'm talking about. Okay. One night I clapped really loud, my hands, because I can't whistle. Okay, so I clapped my hands really loud, like 3 times. And when these 3 beings turned to look at us, one had yellow eyes, glowing. One had blue eyes, glowing. And the one that was in the middle had like cyan eyes. They were like greenish blue. And they all looked like Native Americans. Okay, I know what I'm saying to you. But when they turned and looked at me at that instant, I knew that was the Dogman, his mate, and his pup. I knew it.
So you think that they're connected to the Native Americans, at least the ones that you interacted with?
Okay, I would try to get Moonclaw. I don't say the name very often.
Mm-hmm.
I would try to get him to show me things, okay, about like this area, how old he was, things like that. I will say this: if they know where they come from, they're not going to let that secret go for nothing. I've really tried several times. It gets frustrated and they'll leave. Okay. Anyways, gosh, what was I saying? Okay, so I would ask it to show me things. And what it showed me, and this is my firm belief, I'll hold to this day. It showed me Lowell when it was a little fort town, and they were cutting down lumber, and they were moving it through the river, and all the settlers were popping up, you know what I mean? And they're making all this racket.
Yeah.
This creature showed me from a panoramic view. It was up in a tree at nighttime, and it was hand signaling the Native Americans beneath it that were like a hunting party, because they didn't understand who these people were and why these people were showing up. And I believe it. It seemed so real to me, so true to me. It showed me that one time. There's a spot that they go way up north. I'm not sure where it's at. It could be Canada, Alaska. I'm not sure. But there's a spot where all of these, well, I'm not going to say all of them, but a lot of these creatures congregate like once every 5 years, 10 years. It showed me this. Okay.
Really?
It showed me that it went down into like this cavernous area. It was like a glacier. There was this cavernous area, and there was easily 100 of these creatures. And it picked up a fish out of the water and smacked one of the smaller German Shepherd looking dogmen upside the head with it. Like it was horse playing. They were in like water. It was a hot spring. And they were playing around this. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm just sharing what I experienced.
Right.
Okay.
Doing good, Bob. Just keep telling us the truth, brother. It doesn't really matter how crazy it sounds.
Okay.
All this stuff sounds crazy to normal or regular people. So
I will say this
as
to
long
you.
as
I
it's true,
never.
we want to hear it. I want our listeners and viewers to hear it.
Okay, I guess I could say some of the things that were unusual compared to what other people's experiences are is these things never smelled. They never smelled. I've never smelled not one skunky smell. I've never smelled anything off of these creatures. And I don't know if that's because my nose is that bad, but I am pretty convinced that when it comes especially to the blue-eyed dogman, I'm pretty sure he grooms himself. I really am. His hair looks like it's cut and groomed. The nails are filed sharp. The nails are about as big around as a pencil, maybe like a Sharpie marker coming off the top of its finger.
Mhm.
Those were filed back. It never smelled. Now, I don't know if my opinion, assumption, I think that it bathes. Okay. I think that it doesn't want people to know it's around, so it does everything it can to conceal its presence.
Yeah.
You know,
Right. So how many times would you say you've seen these dogmen all together up there in Michigan?
I can say with a certainty the blue-eyed one I've probably encountered easily 50 times.
Wow.
Its mate 6 or 7 times. The red-eyed one, I'm gonna say probably 7 times total.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the pup one time. My fiance and I had broke up. This put a lot of stress on things, like,
Yeah.
we had broke up, and she was afraid of the property like I was too. Okay. I became afraid of the property over time because for the longest time, you kind of knew what was going to be out there. And then other things started showing up. Okay.
Right.
Okay. As far as
Dogman.
Dogman, Barton, there was blue-eyed one, the red-eyed all black one, the female that had yellow eyes, the small little dogman pup that had the greenish blue eyes. There was a red-eyed one that had gray hair that looked just like it stepped out of the Howling. Okay. That one, in my opinion, was not. This is just my opinion. He was like 6 foot tall. I got into looking for their tracks, and that was always something that just spun you in a circle because sometimes they leave tracks, sometimes they don't. I encountered that one when I literally had my nose to the ground looking at tracks. That one was like 10 feet from me. Okay. And it was dusk, and I stood up and turned and looked, and I was stunned because there's this completely different creature standing there. And it just kind of looked at me for a minute, and it darted down on all 4, and it ran back in the bushes. I saw that one probably 3, 4 times, maybe 5. That one left a deer leg on the back porch one time.
Really?
Yeah.
As a gift or a warning? How did you interpret that?
I interpreted it as a gift. if you want me to talk about what I did and why I think that happened, I will. Okay, but it's foolish. It's foolish. I won't do it again.
Well, you can say whatever you want.
Okay.
As long as it's true.
My
We want to
stepson hit a deer, a doe, and he slammed her really hard twice. She literally shot straight up in the air, and he hit her again. And he just started driving. This was like maybe half a mile from our house, and it broke her legs, and she went flying off into the ditch. I didn't have any way to. I didn't want her to suffer. Okay, so his car was still running. Nothing was ruined. The radiator wasn't steaming. We got in the car and we went up to the house, and he was checking over his car. And I jumped in the car and I went back down and I brought a hunting knife because I didn't want that doe to be out there in agony all night. Okay. So I went out there and I remember this pretty vividly. I went out there and this is what was funny. It's not funny that this creature was in agony, but this will show you the willpower of a wild animal. She had 3 broken legs and she'd already crawled like 20 feet up out of the ditch by the road. And when I got near her, I tried to put my arm around her so I could unalive her. And she bit onto my armpit. Okay.
Yeah.
And she got me pretty good. And I remember kind of stepping back and trying to figure out how to get around her. And a state police officer pulled up and asked me what in the world I was doing. And I explained to him that my stepson had hit the deer and I just didn't want her to be in agony. And he said, well, if you leave her here, the coyotes will get her anyways. And he pulled away. And when he said that, I had a 1988 Mercury Marquis. I heave-hoed the carcass of that doe on the back of my car. And there was a 2-track that used to be a shooting range that went back really close to where these creatures seem to hover. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I went up there with the car really quick. I turned around. I jumped out of the car. I cut the ropes on that deer and I pushed that deer off and I got in the car and I took off. Okay. I didn't go up there. I just put the deer back there. Yeah. About 3 days went by and my daughters were getting ready for school. It was kind of dark out. I'm going to say dusk, right when the sun's starting to rise. Right when it's starting to rise. I hear my fiance yelling, shouting, "Get out of here, get out of here. What are you doing here? Get out of here. That's gross." And I looked out the patio door and I saw this red-eyed Dogman, the gray-haired one that was about 6 feet tall. He was running away looking back at my fiance to the woods. And I think that he put that deer leg out there because I put that deer carcass out there. Right. So I didn't do that again. Okay. I stopped with that.
Well, so we know that you have Indian burial mounds around your place up there and you have a large body of water. Any caves or anything like that you ever seen up there, Bob?
There's not much in caves that I'm aware of, but they are around. If you go way back in the woods, like if I was to go way back near Fallsburg and stuff, there's some craggy areas. There's some spots that things could be and people wouldn't know it. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
so you've lived in haunted houses. You already told us that. Have you ever seen any strange lights up there?
Absolutely. Absolutely. When the encounters were going on back in 2007, 2012, at times it would look like there was a fire out there in the woods. There would be times that you would see what looked like people call them orbs. I guess I'll go with that term. Yeah. They would look like glowing, pulsing orbs. Some of them would be different colors. They would move through the trees. Oftentimes, when that was happening, they would actually it would look like it was moving up and down through the trees, like crawling around in the trees, but it was floating. There would be disembodied voices. There would be echoes, weird sounds. It would sound almost like staticky sometimes.
Yeah.
The fires, you would see a fire and you'd walk out there, and once you got like where you should be able to crest the hill and see the fire, there was never a fire. You'd see it, but it wouldn't be there. The lights, a lot of times back then, were moving through the trees a lot. There is still a lot of that type of phenomenon here, but it's in the sky more now, above the trees.
Yeah.
So that those things still go on some here. And I think it doesn't really matter where you are. People at some point seem to see those in this area.
Right.
Several times.
Another question here, Bob, before we move on.
Some questions.
Yeah, so have you ever seen any other type of inhumanoid or strange creature other than Dogman up there?
Yes, I have.
You have? Tell us about that.
Okay. This was probably 2 weeks before we were moving out of this house. We had a friend that came around some, and how this whole thing started. Give me a minute. I tried to your butt. I'm sorry. Give me a second here.
Okay.
Okay, sorry about that, fellas. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. We
It's
still
okay,
there?
Bob. Get
Okay.
yourself situated. No problem,
Well,
man.
I got weird shaped elf ears, and these headphones don't understand them. So okay. So about 2 weeks before we were moving out, we had a friend that worked for a buddy of mine, and months before this, probably 6 months before this, he had said, "I've never ever seen a ghost. I've never had anything strange happen, and I love to once." And he said, "Can I stay at your place for a week?" And I'm going to say his name was L. We're just going to use L for now. Okay. L was 20.
Okay.
18, 19, 20, somewhere in there. I'd never had anything happen. He genuinely had a curiosity, and he asked if he could stay at the house for a week. This was 6 months before this other thing happened. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
After a week, he was like, "Oh my gosh, I had no clue any of this was real." Okay. Fast forward 6 months down the road, he stops by one night, and we are sitting around and talking and kicking it. And he got out of work kind of late. He worked late on a Friday night, and I was kind of a night owl. He'd come by, and him and I would talk for hours. I really enjoyed his company. He was a cool young kid, and we got to know each other. We were real close, and we're standing there, and we're smoking cigarettes, and we're standing in the yard, and all of a sudden, we hear what sounds like a mixture of a bull and a wild boar. And I know you hear me use that a lot, but for some reason, these creatures set off a sound resonance in me that reminds me of a wild boar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We hear all this racket. It's loud. And you feel this thump, thump, thump in the ground. And it's not like it's stomping. It's like whatever's doing this is jumping. We turn and look, and it would be the same area that I told you that we saw the little Native American ghost family moving. Okay. It's in that same area. It's bounding. And as it's running, it's jumping as high as it's bounding. So each step is like 10 feet in the air and like 10 feet out. And it's bounding like this. And from the side view, it's probably, I'm going to say, an acre from me, but it's a clear night. I can see this thing clearly. It's bounding. I have no idea what I'm looking at still. I know it's not a Dogman. Or if it is, it's the weirdest one I've ever seen. It's bounding, and Lance says, "What is that?" I said, "I don't know." When he said that, it turned and looked at us. Now, its body stayed, it was running sideways in front of us, about an acre out. Its head snapped and looked at us, and then its body followed, and it was bounding at us. Now, L was ready to break and run, okay, and I don't blame him. But in my head, something said, "If you run, you die."
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Describe
And
this thing, Bob. Describe it for the viewers.
Okay, when it turned and started running, bounding at us, it looked like a mix between a minotaur and a ram. Okay, its face was very, very bull minotaur-like looking. It had canine teeth. Its eyes were all black, and they wrapped around kind of like a praying mantis, kind of. The horns came out like a bull's does, but then they curved and wrapped around back, and it was a light gray color. The skin on it was light gray. It was easily 10 feet tall. He was huge. It was huge. It dwarfed anything I'd seen before. Dwarfed it. Okay. It was running full tilt at us, and he turned to run, and I grabbed his arm and I said, "If you run, you're gonna die. Don't run." And he's yelling, "What are we gonna do?" And it's charging at us. Okay, it's making this noise. The ground's rumbling like a Jake brake. It's making this noise. It's charging at us, and it gets about maybe 100 feet from us. And I don't know what I'm going to do. I in my head, I'm like, I'm going to get Lance and me killed. That's literally what I was thinking in my head, but I didn't know what to do. It caught me off guard so quick. I mean, we were outside for maybe 30 seconds. I mean, it was just out of nowhere. It's running at us. It gets about 100 feet away. And all of a sudden, its whole body, like literally one step to the next, its whole body turned around, but its head stayed facing, looking at us. So it's facing us. Its head is backwards, and it bounced back the same way it went, making that noise. And it was looking at us the whole time as it ran straight back. Its head was back, looking at us like an owl or bird would. And when its body turned and it ran that way, its head was still looking at us.
Wow. So you're saying it had the body of a goat or a ram and
I'm going to say it was 5 feet across at the shoulders. It looked like a mix between a bull and a ram, is the best way I can describe what I saw.
did it have
Its
any
eyes,
ram-like features?
oh, definitely. It was massive. It looked like He-Man.
So you're saying it was like a minotaur, like
It had the horns went out straight from the front of its head, like alongside like a Texas Longhorn would, and then they angled back and rounded like a ram. The horns were black, its eyes were black. It had gray skin, it had black veins all over its body. I could see that.
did it have arms and shoulders like a man or
Yes. It looked like I joked around years later and said it looked like a pan on steroids. It looked like a minotaur. It had scars. It had a couple brands on it, even, or tattoos or something that were on the chest and back of it. Okay. And I'm not sure if it had like a mane of hair that went around its neck and it went down the front of it to where its navel was. Okay. And the hair was either a brownish, black. It was a dark color. It was tall. It had from the waist down. It was your traditional cloven hoof, like kind of. If you were to put hair on it and dial down the sharp features of it, it kind of looked like the devil from Legend, but the horns weren't so exaggerated.
Right. Now, did it have 4 legs or 2?
It had 2 legs.
Okay.
And when it was making this noise and this bull noise, once in a while it would cackle like a billy goat did, but it was a really deep bellow, like it didn't sound anything like a goat would.
Right. So it was like a satyr.
Yes.
A huge satyr.
It was massive. I'm gonna say 600 pounds. I'm gonna guess. And please hear me out, people. When I say numbers and heights and stuff, I was a personal fitness trainer for 15 years of my life. Okay. I'm good at judging things. I can usually judge somebody's weight within 20, 30 pounds. Now, I know I'm talking about creatures that are way more massive, but this was by far scarier. In my opinion, it was scarier, more, I felt like I was ambushed, kind of. And I, to this day, don't know why it turned and ran the other way. I have no idea. It was on us. There was nothing we could do.
Right. Well, I mean, nothing you can do. Then your instinct of flight kicks in. So
I remember its nostrils flaring. I remember it blowing air and steam when it was moving at us. It was really, really quick, though. I'm gonna say the whole encounter was maybe 20 seconds, maybe 25. Okay. We could hear it making that noise for a while, like the noise it was making, like it did it, I don't know, for at least a minute after we couldn't see it. Okay.
Yeah.
And him and I ran to the house. We went in the house, turned the lights on around the house, and we kept the lights off inside the house. Okay, for real.
Yeah.
It was probably 3:30 in the morning when this happened. I said to him, before you say anything, I want to show you what I think I saw, because I couldn't believe what I saw. And he said, okay. So I clicked on the internet. I remember this, and there was a picture of a demonic looking pan, and it looked a lot like a minotaur. It was pale, and the picture wasn't exactly, but it was similar. And I said, did it look like this? And he said, almost dead on, but the head was bigger and it was taller.
Yeah. Well, that certainly is crazy. Have you seen anything else, Bob?
Yes.
No.
That encounter was that was the icing on the cake for Bob. Okay, I moved from there. Okay. I didn't know what to expect next. I mean, is there going to be a Tyrannosaurus Rex in the backyard when I go to work? I mean, Okay, as far as other humanoids, yes, I did have a very calm encounter one time. I had a girlfriend that lives within a couple miles of where these things happened, and her dad has seen a Bigfoot. Okay.
Mhm.
And her dad has seen, well, I've seen one of these too, but these crawler creatures that people talk about. Okay. Let's go to that one first, and then we'll go to the
Right.
last one.
Before we go to that one,
Yep.
Josh Hawk wants to know what kind of face that thing had, Bob. What did its face look like?
Okay.
The
If you were to take Legolas from Lord of the Rings, the elf,
Legolas, yeah.
and you were to merge it with a ram and a minotaur face with
Mhm.
canine teeth, that's
Okay.
the best way I can explain what it looked like.
Yeah, that's weird.
It had Elvis looking features to the face, even though it looked like a minotaur and a ram. I don't know. I don't really know how else to explain it. It was very angular. It definitely had fur on its head and around its shoulders, and it went down its navel and its back. It was a brownish color, I believe, or a dark color. It was shredded. It had cannonball shoulders. It had huge arms. I remember the hands being really, really big and meaty. It did have nails, but they weren't as dramatic as the Dogman's nails.
Mhm.
The nails were black. Gosh, let me think. It definitely had cloven feet. It had hoof feet.
Okay.
It did leave tracks.
Jumping 10 feet at a time.
Yeah, it would bound through the air, and as it was bounding, it was like almost cartoonish. As it was bounding, it would go like 10 feet up in the air and 10 feet out. It would hit the ground and do it again, and it was doing it one leg at a time.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to your calm encounter with
Okay.
the other inhumanoid.
My girlfriend had a bonfire. There is one more on top of this that we might not have got a chance to really talk about, but
Well, we can talk about it, brother. Let's talk.
okay.
The viewers
She had,
want to hear this. They want to hear the truth, and that's what I'm here for, to bring
okay,
them the truth.
my girlfriend at the time was a green witch. She's a practitioner. Okay, but she was in the healing arts, stuff like that. We've known each other our whole lives. She
Mhm.
invites me out to a bonfire. Now her property is very haunted. A lot of the areas in Michigan and Lowell, well, especially around Lowell, in my opinion, are really haunted. So we're sitting there around this fire, and it's her children. She had 4 of her children where we're hanging out. It was her and me. There was another couple there, and after that couple left, I believe there was 7 of us sitting at the fire. You saw this little white. It looked like like it was emanating like a kind of like how a lightning bug does, but it stayed
Mhm.
white the whole time, and it was circling around the fire at the edge of the woods, around us. And when I say it was circling around us, it was probably a couple 100 feet out. Well, the kids kind of noticed it, and my fiance noticed, or not my fiance, my girlfriend at the time noticed it. And I said to her, "What is that?" And with a straight face, she says to me, "It's a fairy." Okay. And I'm like, "Oh, come on, get out of here." She says, "No, I'm telling you, it's a fairy." And she went inside, and the kids went inside. And I'm like, "Well, why don't you come back out? Let's see. I want to see this thing, because it's still circling around the yard." Okay.
Yeah.
And she goes, I've looked at it before. And she went inside, which I don't understand to this day what that was about. Maybe she was encountering it and just didn't tell me. I don't know. Okay. But anyways, what I did is I went inside and got a sleeping bag. And I came back out in the front yard and I laid out the sleeping bag near the fire. And I stoked the fire way down to where it was just coals. And I laid in the sleeping bag, just sitting there. And I'm watching this thing circle real slowly. And it's slowly getting closer. And as it's getting closer, I'm saying in my, because the only thing I know off to go off of you guys is hopefully this thing can speak like the other things can. I didn't know what to do, so I'm trying to interact with it. I'm trying to get it to get closer so I can look at it.
Mhm.
So I keep saying, "I won't hurt you. I just want to see you clearly. I won't hurt you. I just want to see you clearly." And I got the idea to back up into that sleeping bag so it couldn't see my head and my face. Okay. So I crouch down in the sleeping bag and I zip it up to where there's a hole. It's about maybe 8 inches around so I can look out. And the noise that this I guess I'm going to call it a fairy. I don't know what to call it.
Right?
The
Was
noise
it
that this fairy,
it was a small little thing.
yeah, it was about the size of a Snicker bar. Okay.
Okay.
And it was emanating this bell noise. And when I say a bell noise, everybody's going to say Tinkerbell. No, I don't mean like that. It was more like if you barely wobbled a bell, just barely, like a dinner bell.
Mhm.
It was going, ding, ding, ding. And it was very ethereal sounding, like it echoed a little bit. It was really quiet. And anyways, I just sat back in there and I kept saying what I was saying verbally. I won't hurt you. I just want to see you clearly. And this little fairy looked in this hole at me in the sleeping bag. Okay, it was maybe 2 feet from my face. And it just kind of hovered there for a minute. And here's the thing I can say. Its wings were like a mixture between, it was all white. It was like almost translucent, like ivory. It had little black claws and it had little black teeth that were kind of pointy. Its eyes were all black and they wrapped around it like some insects do. And its wings were a mixture between like a bat and a butterfly, but they had the butterfly type of like texture or look to it.
Mhm.
Okay. And it was about the size of a Snicker bar. And it was looking in at me and it was really animated. Its face was really animated. It moved really quick, kind of like an insect did, its face did. But it was kind of floating. It was like the wings didn't have to really flap for it to float. That's the one thing I can say is it seemed like the wings really weren't what kept it in the air. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was looking in at me for, I'm going to say a good 15, 20 seconds. And I swear it was whispering something, but I don't know what it was saying. Okay. It just kind of sounded like just barely a barely audible whisper. And then it shot off like a rocket back into the woods. And this went on for about an hour. It took me about an hour to get this thing to come up and look in the sleeping bag. I think the smartest thing I ever thought to do was to hide my face back in there so it'd have to look at me.
Yeah.
You know, because it was curious. I could tell it was curious. It just was really, it was really shy. It was really cautious, I guess, is the way I can say it.
Mhm. And it made no sound other than the whispering noise.
Just a little whispering noise with a bell background to it. Just like if you barely wobbled a bell, just barely.
Mhm.
You know, like if you were talking, you wouldn't hear it.
Right. Is that the only thing that you had happen while you was with that particular girl with the occult connection, Bob?
No, her and I've had several things happen. We used to go ghost hunting. Okay, we used to, you know, we used to feet in the forest. I call it. We used to feet in the forest. Her area is haunted. This won't make any sense, but this happened to probably about 15 of us while she lived out there. I dropped her off one night. I had never had this happen to me, and I've known her since I was like 14. I pulled away from her house, and it was snowing, and it sounded like something was dragging underneath my car, like badly. Like I thought I ran over a box or something and was dragging it. And I get out of the car, and there's nothing under the car. Like when I look under the car, there's nothing dragging on the car whatsoever, not in the snow anywhere. As soon as I get in it and I start to drive, it sounds like something's dragging. Okay. I glanced up in the rearview mirror and I saw something that looked like transparent and shadowy flit away from the back of the car and the noise stopped. And I called her and mentioned to her, hey, this happened to me. She says, yeah, I've had it happen to me a few times. And so did so-and-so and so did so-and-so. So there was a number of different things that happened. I never had anything happen with her with the Dogman creatures or anything. But at that time, I was with a different person.
Yeah. Right. If anybody out there in the chat has any questions for Bob,
I have 29 questions
oh my
right
goodness.
Okay.
Okay. If you have any more, hold them for a second, please. Go ahead. Let's answer a few questions, Bob.
Sure.
now. Okay. Hang on just a second. I gotta find them.
And you're still living in the same place where all this happened, right, Lowell,
Yeah.
Michigan?
I live about a mile.
I wanted to keep that secret, but you've already said it like 10 times. So
It's okay. It's okay. I mean, why, you know, I mean, I just don't want people, the reason why I know I probably shouldn't have said it, but I don't want people going looking for them. Okay. I don't want people trying to investigate this, thinking it's a joke. It's not. Okay. But at the same time, you know, if people know, they know, you know.
Can
Yeah.
you tell us where this encounter happened?
I just did.
You did? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I was trying to
Hello,
read.
Earth to Letitia.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to read.
Literally just said that.
Sorry.
Hey, Letitia, you
Yeah.
might want to,
Most-
when you read the questions, just put them
Uh-huh.
up on the screen, and that way you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about you go ahead and do that?
What does he mean when he says the blue-eyed one would show off? How did it show off, Bob?
Okay, so like this.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you.
There were
We're doing
times.
good, guys. We're
There
still on.
were.
We got some good teachers here with Hollywood and Krista, who we failed to say hello to, but Bob was deep in his story. So hello there, Krista.
Hello, I've been listening. He's got some great encounters.
Well, thank you. Okay, Bob, how did it show off? Amy wants to know.
Okay, I would ask it to show me things sometimes, and then when I said like show me things, like show me something you could do. Okay, please understand. I had hours of time in my lifetime around this creature. Okay, it was never long typically, but I would ask it to do something. So like one time it turned into mist, and it started moving across the field, and it just looked like a patch of fog moving across the field. It could change shape. One time it blurred out behind a tree and it come pouncing out from another tree about 500 feet away.
Yeah. That's interesting because Mr. T, my last guest, he had sent me a picture of him walking down some railroad tracks, and there's a little area of mist that formed, and he said it was. Keep in mind, we still got a lot of story to tell with him, but yeah, he said it was a Dogman that turned into mist. So
I've watched this creature turn into every animal that you can think of in Michigan, other than like the small birds and robins in the series before. Okay,
So that's how he show off. He could shapeshift into other animals.
yes, it turned into a bear, a cougar, a coyote, a wolf. It turned into this large-looking eagle. I swear. And then it turned back into a Native American and ran into the bushes. I'm going to go inside. Sorry about that. Give me a second.
Okay.
My friend's dog's barking inside.
Yeah.
But no,
Dogman out there.
I've seen it turn into mist. I've seen it turn invisible. I've seen it turn into other animals. Okay. The red-eyed Dogman. One time I was watching this one. I got up inside of my landlord's barn, and I got up on the upper loft, and I could see out a long ways, and it was about 30 feet up in the air, okay? And I saw this red-eyed Dogman one night walking on the edge of the field, and a car pulled up to the four-way stop that was near my house. And when this car turned and the lights hit this creature stopped and turned. I swear these things are double-jointed. It cocked itself in a weird way, and it turned its face away from the car, and it looked like a tree. It resembled a dead tree. And as soon as the car went by, this thing spun back around and kept prowling across the tree line.
Wow.
That scared the crap out of me because I have no idea how many times I've walked by that tree.
Yeah. Didn't even know it.
Didn't
So
even
Mama
know
the Boys wants to know, is there a big Native American population in the Upper Peninsula?
When you say big, I don't exactly know what would be considered big because if you do have it, it's more pocketed. And there is a lot of Native American history here. There is still a lot of Native Americans that are much farther up north. Okay. There was a lot of Ottawa, Chippewa. There's a lot of burial mounds in this area. There is some natives I know that do live in this area, but most of them are not really devout with their path. Nothing against them, just the ones I personally know. Okay.
Right.
But there is a lot of Native American history here, though.
Okay. James Fedke, could you feel or hear this circle oily spot that the female Dogman emerged from at any point?
There was a weird vibration sound.
Okay.
Like a whoom, whoom, whoom. I can't. I know I probably suck at making a noise, but it had a rhythmic noise to it, and it went whoop, 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 whoop. There was a number of times that these things happened there too. I could get into if you want. Give me 1 second here. Okay. You would hear a car pull up at my house. You would hear it, see the lights, everything from the living room. You get up and go outside, and there's no car.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There was a number of times I heard our slider open and shut, and I'm literally looking at it, and I hear it open and shut, and it never moved. Okay. I, for a long time, couldn't explain that. But on some of the other shows, some of the other things that come up with our like-minded people, I've heard of some encounters where a person was hiding from some of these creatures in the woods, and he saw this thing open its mouth and make a noise that sounded like a truck.
Oh,
Now,
wow.
I never witnessed anything like that. But when I heard that, it all of a sudden clicked in my head, well, maybe when I kept hearing a car pull up over and over, maybe something was trying to lure me outside. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know.
Never know.
No.
Brother Charlie, War Chief Tracker C wants to know, have you had any PTSD from all these encounters?
Absolutely.
How they affected you?
Absolutely. I've been told that I have one of the grandest cases of complex PTSD you can imagine. Okay. For real.
Yeah.
It's not all from Dogman though. It's from life experience stuff too. Okay.
Right.
But I'll say this to you, folks. When I say this, please hear me out. In this world, what is normal? Okay. If you see what's going on TV and stuff, and I know I'm getting off subject in a minute, but just hear me out. Everybody has a mental illness nowadays. Everybody has a mental illness. They can categorize anything, everything. You know, folks, these aren't mental illnesses. Your third eye is waking up. When you start to run at a higher vibration, you're going to encounter other things that run at higher vibrations. Okay.
Right.
You know, and that's just kind of, you know, my take on some of those things. You know, everybody has a label for things nowadays, and everybody's so quick to discredit people. And at the end of the day, this is one human being trying to warn other human beings that these creatures exist. They're real. Okay.
Right.
And they're not just flesh and blood. Make no mistake of that. Make no mistake of that. All right.
You're sure
They're
glad you're
anything.
telling the truth, Bob. And awful brave of you to do that.
The
Graham
closest.
wants to know, could be their eyes turn red when they're angry, or you think that's just a normal feature of them, of different type?
Okay. I think it has something to do with. Okay. I think it has something to do with like what drives them. Okay. I've never seen their eyes change color. I've heard of that, but I've never witnessed it myself. Okay. What I witnessed was the red-eyed ones are much more impulsive, the more malevolent. Even if they're interacting, it's going to be a deer leg on the back porch, or you know your dog ends up missing and you find half of it in the yard, or you know the red-eyed ones are very malevolent. They're very outgoing, in my opinion. They, I think, feed on fear. I really heavily think that. The yellow-eyed ones are more unpredictable, in my opinion. Okay, and the reason why I'm saying that is because it feels like the red-eyed one always felt like it was hell-bent to terrorize somebody. Okay, that's the best way I can explain it after all these years. The yellow-eyed ones seem to be like they don't want to be seen. And the blue-eyed one was the one that was by far the calmest, the most civilized, I guess is the way to put it. They're guarded about what they know about each other, too. Like I never found out if the maid had a name. I never found out if the pup had a name. You know, they guard certain things. If you're not going to find out, you'll never find out. But I do think that these things live hundreds of years. Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes this creature would be as solid as a human being standing near a tree in front of you, and other times it was transparent. Other times it would look like other things. Sometimes it would be invisible. You know.
Yeah.
A lot of times,
it lets you know its nickname. I guess that was the name that the Native Americans used to call this thing. Is that what
that's what it conveyed to me, Barton. It conveyed to me that was a nickname that they had for it. And when I say nickname, I'm not talking a pet name, people. I'm talking like that it was known as that, so people knew what they were talking about. Okay, yeah. You know, the Native American. What's that?
Do you think they're well? T. Cutler, the Cutler asked any insight on where they might come from. What's your take on that?
Okay, my personal opinion isn't real far from some of the other people's thoughts. I am suspicious that they're left over from a previous civilization.
Mm-hmm.
I remember many times in my head, if I think about these creatures in my head, okay, and I think about it hard, I think of Anubis. You know, Now I know that that's one that's a catch-all, but if you notice in all these early cultures, they all had the wolf cornstalker, or you know the wolf guardian of the forest, or no matter where you look, because I've been privately researching this and I read a lot. I listen to a lot. I've been privately researching it, looking for answers like everybody else since 1987.
Right.
Okay. And what triggered that is I realized that if I didn't see it just once, I'd saw it multiple times, and it's not going anywhere. So I might as well figure out what's going on.
Right. Yeah, we're all looking for answers, Bob.
Absolutely. And people
in
hear me
Michigan or
out.
Kentucky or Texas, it doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah. And to
Everyone
our
that sees these things, they want answers, and you have a lot of information that a lot of people have never heard before, including myself. I've never heard of one being nicknamed or letting somebody know it's nicknamed. I've never heard of these things communicating telepathically or turning into mist, But it seems like all the inhumanoids, whether it's Dogman or Bigfoot or Mothman or whatever, they all have the same abilities.
Yes, or very similar. If they're not the
Right.
same, they're very similar. I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree with you on that.
Read the next question, honey.
We have a couple more questions. Did any of them whistle or sound like giant owls?
Okay. They're not called the mimics of the forest for no reason. These things mimic animal noises. Unquestionably, they use these animal noises to communicate with each other. Okay, I'm going to be real with you. If I hear an owl, I'm on point. I all of a sudden I know my six. I'm ready, because many times have I heard owls. Okay, and there's not 600-pound owls. All right.
Right.
Okay. I remember. Gosh, I'm not trying to name drop, or if I got this wrong, Brandy, I swear that you said that when you had your Bigfoot encounter, that you heard a bullfrog. Okay. I used to joke that there was a 400-pound bullfrog in my woods because we would hear this. There's not even a swamp there. There's not even water there. It's a cornfield.
Wow.
Where did
Well,
this,
yeah.
where did
Well,
this,
Chris is the one that heard that,
okay.
and
When you
we
guys said
hadn't
that on
heard
the
any
show.
frogs.
Okay.
Yeah, we hadn't heard any frogs whatsoever. I mean, in 3 days, I hadn't heard any frogs, and then all of a sudden, there it was. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
And
yeah.
it was probably after 20 minutes after actually Brandy had the sighting. So
Okay, at the height of my encounters in 2007 to 2012, I would routinely hear this bullfrog that would kick off at about 12:30 at night, and it sounded like anything but a bullfrog. Okay.
Wow.
The owl noises. Okay, Barton, I'm in absolute agreement with you on these owl noises. It'll sound a lot like an owl, but it doesn't have the roll at the end. It'll be quieter, fainter. Okay. I've noticed this before. We walked outside one time. 4 of us walked out, and I heard 4 owl noises back to back. And when I heard that, it set the hair off on my neck. And I said to the people with me, let's go back inside. And they were like, what do you mean? Come on, man, let's go outside and have a fire. I said, no, we're not having a fire tonight. We're going back inside. Because something about that, even though I'd encountered these creatures a lot, please understand, yeah, they're not human, but they're very individual like humans. Mm-hmm. Some of these creatures are mean. Some of these creatures are ornery. Some of them are shy. Okay, some of them are aggressive. Okay,
yeah.
So to be honest with you, I'm not at any more of an advantage than the next person if I'm in the woods and one of these pops up and decides it doesn't like me. My saving grace is God, a lot of people are going to think I'm a kamikaze for this one. I don't hit the woods with anything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get me wrong. I know people want evidence. I understand that. But I thought I was being foolish, sticking my nose in the grass to look when one of these things might be coming up behind me. Okay. I was fascinated with them, but I never thoroughly trusted them. Okay.
That's pretty wild of you, Bob. Crypto Mark Maycheck wants to know any cult activity in the area that you know of.
Yes. I can't say recently, but I'll say this. There's definitely some youngsters out here that dabble in things. Okay. There was some ritual animal slayings that happened at a park up here north of Lowell. This isn't something they want me telling, but it happened. Okay. People know about it. This was in the late 80s, early 90s. Okay. They found, I guess, pigs and other animals that were ritually sacrificed up there. And all of us locals were scratching our heads because we don't think it's people from this area. We think it's outsiders that are just dropping in to do whatever they do, and then
Mhm.
they're leaving again. Okay, because the people I know, like even my girlfriend that dabbled in the occult a little bit, that's nowhere on our radar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, we're about life and bringing light to the world. You know.
Right. Telling the truth. So Kooky Spooky, he already said that he never noticed any smell associated with these creatures at all. Almost like they bathed and groomed. So no
Or
smell.
or maybe because they weren't threatened, they don't emit that smell.
Mhm.
Like you know how they call a wolverine a skunk bear.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm suspicious it's a scent gland like that.
Mhm.
Okay, now I mean, don't get me wrong, there were some things I did to antagonize the one to get it away from me the one time with the air horn and stuff, but I didn't smell
Yeah.
anything from that. You know,
Okay. So Morgan wants to know: do you think it was taunting or messing with you purposefully? I believe she's talking about the black-eyed one with the black teeth. I'm not sure though.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, this is kind of what I like. I said, I can only assume people. I'm human. These creatures have their own agenda. I don't know what that agenda is. Okay,
Right.
uh, um, it's like looking through a keyhole. Once in a while, I see a dog man. That's literally what I tell people. Okay,
Mhm.
what was the question? I'm sorry.
That was a mess. Was it taunting you on purpose?
Okay, yes, absolutely. I think what was happening was this. I think that this creature might have been observing the fact that I interacted with the other one, or somehow it knew it.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's in my opinion, it seemed like it homed in on us because of the presence of the other one.
Right.
Now, when I told you the story about him fighting, that had nothing to do with, oh, these creatures were saving Bob and this story's all about Bob. It has nothing to do with Bob. I just happened to witness it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're in the wrong
I
place at the right
genuinely
time.
I genuinely think that the blue-eyed creature lured me out there as a distraction because he was in trouble. Not because I could help him. He was in trouble.
Yeah.
Okay. Um I still don't know quite how I feel about that. Okay. You know, the
Right.
red-eyed one definitely was all about taunting, all about scaring. I believe that if this one could get away with killing people and not be chased down or causing a bunch of ruckus, I think it would. I'm telling you the truth. I think it would.
Right. It probably has. So, Nicholas
Probably
wants to
has.
know how many different forms approximately did it present itself over the years?
Okay. I can say this to you. It's weird how the world works. There's no coincidences. I had a girl that I've known a long time. She's my friend's younger sister. She called me, talking to me. Now, we've talked about these things a few times before, but she really opened up to me about things that she over time thinks might have been related to these dogmen. And I just want to share what she said. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
She lived out, she would stay at a friend's house and they lived out by Elto. Now, they had, when we were young, they had two Rottweilers back when I had this encounter with the blue-eyed dogman in that woods. She told me that both those Rottweilers would run over in that woods and they'd be in that woods all day chasing raccoons and stuff. And both those dogs ended up dead in that woods. Okay.
Right. So this thing doesn't like dogs, right?
Right, right. My
No
opinion,
inhumanoid likes dogs for some reason. I don't know what it is.
the vibe I got from the dog man, like these creatures versus a dog, is they don't understand why a dog listens to a human and not to them.
Yeah.
That's
So how are these
literally the
things?
only explanation I have.
Right.
The
Are these
the
things
red-eyed one.
still? Are you still having experiences with these things? When's your last encounter with a dog man or any inhumanoid?
Well, okay. I haven't had a chance to speak to you about this, and I'm not saying this is Dogman, but I'm gonna say it's unusual. I'm I'm at a new spot here, and I'm about a mile from ground zero where all these things happened. Okay.
Hmm.
4 nights ago, I came outside to have a cigarette, look up at the stars and stuff, and it was a little foggy outside, and there was three owls going off nonstop, all back to back, back to back, back to back. Now, there's owls in Michigan, but you're not going to have three owls within 100 feet of each other raising Cain. Okay, they're trying to eat. They're not going to make all that racket. They're not going to do that. Okay, I'm not saying it was Dogman, and I'm not trying to say this just to say it, but I have my questions. Okay, and I'll tell you why. I said I've never smelled these things before, right? And I mean
Right.
that. I've never smelled anything. Last night, I came out here. I videoed the sounds and everything. Uh, I heard an owl again, but this time it was really low. It didn't have the roll at the end of it like it's supposed to. and it was behind the shed where I stay now, about 100 feet from where I'm standing right now. And this went on for like about 15 minutes, and it didn't sound like an owl. And then my buddy's dog started going nuts inside the house. And then I had to stop the video because he was trying to get outside. And that whole day yesterday, at least 3 times at different points in the day, I came outside and I smelled not what smelled like a skunk at first. It smelled like a dead badger. I smelled a dead badger one time when I was a kid. There was one in the barn that was dead. This smelled like a dead badger. Now, hear me out, people. Maybe there is 3 owls in the backyard while it's foggy making that noise, and they're actually owls, okay? And then maybe there is a dead badger in my buddy's yard. But it was just strange that I could smell it in the front yard, the backyard. It was really heavy, like it was right in front of me. And that's the first time ever I've smelled something that smelled off to me like that.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying it is those things. As far as a definite Dogman encounter, okay, I have a friend that has some property out at Gun Lake. And if people get into research in Michigan, you're going to find out that Gun Lake area is a hot spot for dogmen. Okay, that's just what the papers say. That's what the stories go. Okay, people have seen packs of them. Okay, so he tells me he's had this property and he bought it for a great price, but it's been abandoned for 10 years. Okay, and he said there's some strange things going on out there. And he said that, he'd like me to come see it. Now, this individual does believe in Bigfoot. Okay, this individual used to go looking for gold, and despite whether he'll tell the world or not, he admitted to me that he encountered a Bigfoot when he was spelunking for gold. Yeah. Okay, so he tells me I think there's something like that going on over there. So he takes me over there in the daytime. The property's been abandoned for like 10 years. There's like 3 or 4. There's a barn, 2 houses, a lean-to shed, and it's all overgrown. Okay, and they've been cleaning it up. But he tells me there's some weird things going on, and walk around and take a look at it and see what I think. So I go walking down towards where this house is, and the back half was open because it had burned at one time. And as I'm walking down there, I can hear something walking around, like not scurrying, walking on 2 legs down in the basement. And as I turn the corner, it stops. Okay, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of funny. That's a little strange. Okay, maybe it's just some residual ghost. I don't know. So I back up from there, and he shows me the property and stuff, and I get to looking, and there's a section behind the house, like maybe 300 yards, that has all these bones everywhere, and there's 3 dead dogs down there. Okay.
Really?
Yes. Okay. He wasn't aware of it until I pointed it out to him that there was 3 dead dogs down there. So I talked him into staying out there that night. Okay. Now, I don't know if this was a dog night. I just know we encountered something weird. Okay. We're out there. You start hearing what sounds like a raccoon being attacked. Okay. We're sitting still. We don't have any phone, nothing. Okay. We're just sitting still in the bushes. You hear what sounds like a raccoon getting killed. And it goes on for a couple of minutes. Really exaggerated, in my opinion, okay, unless it was a coyote chasing it or something. So that happens. That's not too far out there. I mean, there's cougars can make noises like that. Okay, there's animals that can make noises like that in Michigan. I get that. But here's where it gets really weird. We hear that, and all of a sudden, it's in the middle of noise, like it's just being butchered and it's being flayed alive or unalived, and then all of a sudden it just stops. And then there's this tunnel of wind. I know what I'm saying. Sounds really far out. There is this tunnel of wind that goes around him and me. And as this tunnel of wind is spinning around us, we're watching the leaves fly, grass fly and stuff. You hear a growl. This long, elongated, wolf-sounding, it sounded like a wolf to me, growl. And it was on the wind. Okay? And it went around us. He looked at me and I looked at him and I said, we need to get out of here. And him, we walked back to back up out of there and got to his car and we left that night. Okay. Because I don't know what that was. And that scared me pretty heavily. Okay.
Right. So safe to say that some strange stuff is still happening with you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, one more question for you, Bob.
Sure.
And then we'll move on with this. King of Hueco Mundo, the goat man creature. What were the eyes positioned on the side of the head, or were they more human-like?
They weren't anything like human, but the eyes wrapped around from the front of the head to the side, and it was, in my opinion, looking at it, it was all black. The eye was completely black, and it was more angular looking. Like, it didn't have the soft look that a bull can if it's relaxing or something like that. It had a much more like aggressive, challenging look.
Right. Charlie Budden wants to know, any of the interactions feel like they were looking into your soul when you looked in these things' eyes? I know you said that this thing used to put you to sleep when you were a kid.
Absolutely, absolutely. This creature knows everything about me, and I wouldn't be able to hide it.
Yeah. Okay, Bob, we're running out of time, brother. We sure appreciate you coming on. We're going to wrap this up here. We got a lot of stuff to give away to all our subscribers and members. And I just want to remind everybody that our membership tiers are up. Different price. We have 4 different tiers, and if you can afford to be a member, that would be greatly appreciated. A lot of people want to know how they can help us and support us. That's a good way right there, is becoming a member. And I've been working hard on putting more members only videos up, but we're going to have even more coming up. So you guys might want to check that out. I think the low tier is $4.99 and
$2.99.
$2.99. So that's pretty affordable. But Bob, thank you, brother, for coming on and talking to us. You shared so much knowledge with the people. I hope they understand what you were saying and what it all means, that these things are not animals. These things are much, much more than that, and they're not natural at all. So
No. I just want to say to everybody and to Barton, thank you for having me as a guest on the show. Listeners, thank you for taking time to listen to what I had to say. I'm just trying to share what's raw and real. Okay. And I'm just a human being. All I can give you is my perspective. Okay.
Right.
But
That's what we like, Bob.
please be alert, be aware, be open-minded. These creatures are around. Who knows where they're going to be? I don't say that to scare nobody. I mean it. And if you know children, if parents out there, nephews, aunts, uncles, if the children around you are talking about the wolfie at the window or their best friend or their new imaginary friend, pay attention. Pay attention. The kids always see it first. Every time the kids see it first.
Right. And
okay,
all the knowledge you shared might just, make a difference in someone's life. It might save someone's life. That's why we're up here doing it. A lot of people are probably laughing at us. A lot of normal, quote unquote, people are they laugh at this subject. They scoff at it, but they have no discernment on what's real and what isn't. All they know is what they've been taught by other people. And if other people have no experience with these kind of things, of course, they're not going to believe it. So, but we know that they're real. So thanks again, Bob.
Yes.
We're going to have you come back sometime. I know you have a lot more to share with everybody, and it was great having you on, brother.
Thank you very much for your time, everybody. I appreciate it. Everybody have a good night, and God bless.
You too.
God bless you,
Thanks,
too.
Bob.
We'll be having again soon.
Bye, Bob.
Bye, Bob.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Todd. We appreciate that.
That was very enlightening.
Woo! That was amazing.
Yeah.
Right? And he's like Mr. T. He has a lot more that, when you're talking, you just kind of skip over. You forget and you go on. But thank you, Liberty 1776, for that donation. Greatly appreciated. You guys, donations are not expected, but they are greatly appreciated. And if you can't afford any of the membership tiers, we're still going to give you all the regular content that we always give. The live streams and the podcasts that I make, and I'm working on 2 or 3 right now. So yes, now it's time to give away some stuff.
Krista, take it
Yeah,
away.
lots of stuff to give away.
Take
Yes.
it away.
Stuff.
All right, so everybody's going to have to bear with us because this is our first time also using this system.
Yes.
So, what do you want to give away first?
All right, let's get to my.
And then because I got some here set up, so for the
Okay.
keywords. So how this is going to work, everybody, is I'm going to give you a keyword, And to be entered in the drawing, if it's something you're interested in, type in that word in chat and we'll give you a good minute or two to everybody comment. And then everybody that comments that word, it does a random raffle. And then you will see it. I will share my screen with you. You all will see it as I see it, who wins. So, and also, if you win, please email Letitia with your name and address and all of that good stuff on each thing and what you won.
Okay. At the
All right.
lmsmith1970@hotmail.com.
Yep.
And also, Chris, I have a question. Are you going to put anything in caps or do they just spell it out?
It's all lowercase.
Lowercase. Everybody, lowercase.
Okay, what's the first item we're going to give away,
First
baby?
item we're going to give away is from Texas Front Porch, a $25 gift card.
All right, everybody that's interested in that and winning that.
Christian's
Just
got
type-
your word.
What's the
Okay,
word,
hold
Krista?
on 1 second. Let me get to it. You guys just got to bear with us here.
Okay.
This is all super new for us too. Thank you, Shane.
On that project. We appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah. And so, yeah, thank you, Shane. And here's the deal too. So even if you put in the keyword 4 times, it's only going to count as 1 vote. So the system automatically boots it out. So all you guys have to do is comment the keyword 1 time. So you said you're giving away from text?
From text.
All right.
What's the
So
keyword?
the keyword is text.
Text. TEX, you guys. $25 gift certificate, is that right? From Texas Front Porch. Tex, we appreciate you, brother. You guys type text in and no capitals, please.
No capitals.
There you go.
This is kind of exciting. This is super exciting. We've never even used this system.
Yeah,
and
no,
we're
this
like,
is new to all of us. So
we love to give back, we love to give back to the viewers.
And I'm going to share my screen.
It's pretty cool. I didn't even know they had all this kind of stuff on here. I was like, she was telling me about that. I was like, wow, that's pretty neat.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
It says
tell me
text.
when I hit draw, you've got 48 entries so far, 50 entries.
Hey,
tell me when,
Bart.
Keep going. Keep going, everybody.
No capital letters, please.
All lowercase.
There we go. Hello there, Joe Breezy, brother. How you doing tonight?
And hit it.
Let's roll it. The winner is Jimmy Blanton, Appalachian Tales of... No, I'm sorry.
Just Curious.
Just Curious, okay.
Just Curious.
Just Curious.
Yay.
Woo!
Yay.
Yay. Good job.
Yeah, good job. Just Curious.
So Just Curious, please email Letitia. Yep.
Absolutely.
All right.
Ellen Smith,
That was awesome.
1970@hotmail.com. That's how old we are. We still have Hotmail accounts. You guys don't like that too much, okay?
Right.
Okay, what's our next prize?
Next prize is Blondes and Booze gift certificate for merchandise from them.
So
All
it's $25 and you can go on our merch store and you can pick what you want and email Letitia and we'll get it worked out. Actually, email Letitia with your name and email address, and then Brandy or I will reach out to you with the link to our store. So
absolutely.
All right.
Okay, what's the word?
The word is booze. BOOS.
BOOS. Everybody that's interested in a gift certificate for $25, type in the word booze. BOOS.
All lowercase. Yep, all lowercase.
Coffee.
Yeah, I think you should just pop that right up, Krista. That way they can see what you're putting in there. That's pretty cool. That is awesome.
Give everybody a few minutes to pop in here.
Right?
Hit it.
Mike A.
Hey, yay.
Mike
good
Yay.
night. Congratulations, Mike. Yeah. Send me your information.
Awesome.
Mike,
All right.
All right.
Next, let's do Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. He donated a book.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
And I know that
I
one.
believe it's
I know what book it is.
autographed.
Yeah, it's this book right here. I got it.
What's
All
the
right.
keyword?
Let's share my screen. Hold on. I got to get it there. I got to get lined up here.
All right.
Congratulations,
All right.
Mike A.
Yes. Congratulations.
Hope you guys are enjoying this special live stream. 5,000 subscribers. It's like a little celebration here. We're going to do this every time we hit a milestone. All right.
Mhm.
BMR's book's next.
Yep.
Wait a minute. Let me make
We're
sure
just-
here. Yeah.
We're just
Did it
waiting for Chris to
come
get
up?
set up.
Sorry. I'm trying to get it. Keyword is, let's see here. BMR is the keyword.
All right.
BMR. Everybody type in BMR. No capitals, please. And what's the name of his book, Hollywood? Can you tell us?
Yeah, it's True Cryptid Encounters Book 1. I kind of showed them the cover of it because I do have a copy right here.
All right.
Just so happens.
Whoa, everybody wants a copy of that BMR book.
And he will sign it too.
All right.
Signed copy.
Mm-hmm.
Type in BMR if you're interested.
Some
No
people have
capitals,
it
no
already.
capitals, Matt.
Yeah.
Lord Imp, no capitals, please. Try it one more
Yes.
time without
It showed
capitals.
on the screen.
Yes. Put it in one more time.
Come on, Matt, get it in there. Let Matt get a chance here. There you
Did he
go.
get it?
Oh,
Go.
there you go. And 3, 2, 1, hit it. Round and round it goes. Who will be the winner? Stephen
Stephen.
Hall.
All
Congratulations,
Yay.
Stephen. You almost won that one. That was so close, brother. Congrats to Stephen Hall. He gets an autographed copy of Bigfoot Michigan Rob's first book. First of
Yep.
many, I'm sure.
Awesome.
I have to say this is fun, y'all.
This is very, very
I know it's fun giving away stuff.
Next is
Next.
going to
Right.
be a book from Martin Groves.
Martin Groves'
Okay.
first book, signed copy. He's graciously donated that
All
to us. So, Martin Groves' first book.
All
As soon as
right.
Krista gets that set up, we'll see it. I know it's so much fun giving stuff away. It's like
We love it.
Christmas. It's
Right.
Thanks to everybody who donated for us to
Yes.
have this drawing.
Thank you, guys. We have such wonderful friends. You know, we would not be here if it weren't for all of our friends that help us along the way.
Yep.
And so that's what we do. We help each other. So what's the key word for there?
She's getting it.
Martin.
Martin.
all lowercase.
Right. Anyone who wants a copy, Martin Groves, signed copy of his first book, type in Martin with no caps, please. Get them in there. There we go.
Yeah, I know. I see them all flowing in right now.
Everybody wants a copy of Martin's book.
Mhm.
Fantastic.
It's like you might as well forget talking anything else in chat.
Right.
Nobody will be able to see it.
The more people who drop out of the chat means the better your chances are of winning a prize. So,
Right.
Hit it.
should have given just a second or two longer. We got a bunch of Martins coming in.
Larry,
Larry, brother
Yay!
Larry, congratulations. You have won a
Alright.
signed copy of Martin Groves' first book, Beach Between the Rivers.
He may have one. I don't know.
Excellent. And if you already have that one, I'll have to find something else for you, brother.
He probably does.
He probably. We'll
All right.
see.
So
Now we are going to be giving away Josh's books from PRT.
right, we got one of each here coming. So the first one will be The Bigfoot Phenomenon by Josh Turner.
So let's do that one
Let's
first.
do that one first.
Okay.
Can we just type in PRT for that one? Make it easy.
Hang on.
I'm just
Let me get
Giving
to
us
it
a
here.
question.
Bigfoot phenomenon.
Hold on.
Mhm.
Sorry.
They're
Come on,
already
Sparky.
typing in PRT.
Type it in, Sparky. You spilled your coffee on your copy. You need a new copy. This is
Well,
really
hang
good.
on a second. Let's get the word up before we start it. She's got to get it in there
Hold on,
first.
hold on just a second, everybody.
You rushing us, baby.
The word is PRT.
Okay, everybody, type it in again.
Go.
Type it in first. You said that one more time. Look at everybody. They want a copy of Josh's book. It's an outstanding book, I have to say. It's one of the most powerful Bigfoot books that I've ever read
It's a
in
great
my
book.
life. He did.
Yeah, make sure it's in all. It's on all small letters.
Mm-hmm.
If you think you typed it in too early, go ahead and type it in again now.
Yes. Give everyone a few more seconds to retype it in. Okay, PRT, come on. Type it in there if you're interested in it. The Bigfoot Phenomenon by Josh Turner. Excellent book. I give it 5 stars.
Mm-hmm.
I would give it 6, but there's no such thing as that.
We can make 6. Why not?
Ready?
No, not yet. Everybody's still typing. I'm going to give everybody a chance.
Yeah, I still see him coming.
It's registered 80 so far.
Oh, my goodness. Keep it up, guys. You want a copy of this book? You need to read this book. I can't imagine anyone reading this book and not realizing the truth about Bigfoot after they've read this book.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion of it. So, absolutely great book. And here we go, everybody. Get ready. In 3, 2, 1. Spin it, Krista. Spin that
It's like
wheel,
so
girl.
exciting.
And the winner is
Sherry.
Sherry.
Griffey. Wow, 2-time winner tonight.
Sherry did.
Oh, she hasn't won.
No, Sherry.
Oh, okay.
Sherry hasn't.
Oh, I thought she'd won one already.
He'll be all right, y'all.
Great. That's great. Congratulations, Sherry. I know you're going to like this book, hon.
Yeah, congratulations.
Okay.
Terrific book.
Now we have PRT, Josh Turner,
The
his
Dogman.
second book, his Dogman book.
The Dogman Phenomenon by Josh Turner. Another excellent book. Now I'm going to let you take this time,
Yeah,
Krista. I'm not
please.
going to jump the gun, okay? You had 80 people say type in PRT before we even started.
I'm going to change things up here.
All
Okay.
right.
So nobody can predict what the word is.
All right.
Word for the Dogman book is Bigfoot.
All right.
Oh.
All right, everyone who wants a copy of Josh's Dogman book, a signed copy that he's donated graciously, please type in Bigfoot with no caps. There we go. Get them in.
She kind of turned that around, didn't she?
I did. I was getting too predictable.
Yeah, we'll have to wait a little bit longer because
Yeah, you threw them off with
that's
that
not
one.
a short word. Yeah.
Okay. Dogman Phenomenon, excellent book. Breezy, thank you for that advice, brother. We're just, it's the first time for us.
Mm-hmm.
We're just trying to have a little fun and let you guys have a little fun too, you know.
And show our appreciation.
And show
for
our
all the
appreciation,
help.
right, for all your support. We love you guys. We're just up here trying to tell the truth and trying to help people. So, Krista,
Yes.
10 seconds. 10 seconds, guys. Type in Bigfoot with no caps if you're ready. If you want to own a signed copy of this book. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spin that wheel, Krista. Come on, big money. Shade says. No whammies. Big money, no whammies.
Winner,
James.
James Fedke. All right, James. Congratulations, my friend.
Congratulations.
The Dogman phenomenon.
James.
Yeah.
How did you spell that last name? I'm sorry.
F-A-E.
F-A-E. Yes.
F-A-E-D-T-K-E.
Okay.
Right.
All right. The next one is going to be a copy of the Inhumanoids, signed by Bart.
Signed by me, my Inhumanoids book.
Josh Turner's agreed to donate another copy of that.
Okay.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, brother Josh. Sure appreciate your help and your support and your friendship above all.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's share my screen. All right. And the word.
You want a signed copy of The Inhumanoids by me.
Type Shasta.
Do not type Shasta.
The word is nightmare.
There you go.
Nightmare. Okay. Nightmare. Let's go. Anyone who wants a signed copy of The Inhumanoids, type in nightmare. It's going to take a little bit longer. It's a little bit longer word here. Everybody get it in. A lot of people really like this book. Josh Turner's read it twice, and that's like the greatest compliment that any writer can get is someone reading your work twice. So type in nightmare if you're interested in this book.
We got 3 of these to go, so we can. Five.
Irina, shame on you. Yeah, you met me down in Texas, girl. You know I don't drink Shasta. Oh my gosh, look at the Shastas coming up. Okay, 5 seconds. Type in nightmare. No caps. If you want a copy of my book. 5, 4, 3, 2. Coke, there you go. Facing the crowd. I love you, man. 1, and Krista, spin the wheel. Winner is Susan C.
All
Congratulations,
right.
Susan.
Congratulations.
I hope you enjoy this book.
Next,
Susan C.
Next we have another copy of Inhumanoid signed by Bart.
One more copy of Inhumanoids, guys.
No, we have 2 more copies.
Oh, we have 2 copies? Okay, we have 2 more copies to give away. So if you haven't read Inhumanoids, you don't have a copy, this could be your lucky night. That's what we need now, Krista.
All right. Next word.
You got a word. I know you got a word.
I got a word.
Better not.
The word is Barton.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. That'll
Okay.
work.
If you want a copy of Inhumanoids, the second copy we're giving away, signed copies. Type in Barton. No caps, please.
A face in the crowd, change to no caps, please.
No capital letters, please. I know it's hard.
Yeah, it has to be how I typed it in, and I was just trying to keep it simple.
Yeah, so if you think you typed a capital letter, just retype it right now.
Right, Miss Wendy, please no caps. Type again, please. Henry E. White Jr., no caps, please. Type it one more time, buddy. Own up a Digo. No cats, please. This is so fun. We love giving away stuff.
Henry, try again. I saw you did it again. All lowercase.
Brother Larry says it's probably autocorrected.
Yeah.
Thank you, Faces of the Crowd. You got it in now.
Y'all defeat that autocorrect. It's evil.
I end up saying all kinds of stuff that I didn't mean to.
Totally ruins your text messages.
It's a pain.
Are we ready, everybody? 5 seconds. Type in Barton. Barton, no caps. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And spin it, Krista. I like that truthy Ruthie. Here we go. The winner of the second copy of The Inhumanoids
Dick Richards.
is
All
Dick
right.
Richards. Yay.
All right. Thanks for always showing up in the chat and commenting on our videos. We really appreciate you, man. Surely do.
We have 3 more spins left. We have
Only 3 spins left.
3 spins left. We have one more copy of Inhumanoids.
Okay, let's go ahead and do that and get rid of all the Inhumanoids and go to the next one. Okay, one more copy of Inhumanoids signed by myself.
Okay.
Give us the word, please, Krista.
The word is, let me show it to you all.
Last chance not to say Shasta.
LBL.
LBL.
There you go, people. LBL. Type in LBL with no caps, please, if you want a chance to win this signed copy of The Inhumanoids. Here we go. Everybody start typing.
Well, those are going fast.
I know. Everybody.
Get them in there.
Get them in there. Woo!
I wish I had a copy that I could send each and every one of you guys in this chat right now. I wish I could.
Cheryl, try again. You spelled LBLL. Try again.
Own up a Digo. Try again, hon. You misspelled it.
I'm trying to watch. They're so fast.
I know it.
And I can't see because all I'm looking at is LBL. I can't see Jet.
Right?
And again, if you don't think you spelled it right,
What's that?
put it in again. If they haven't spelled it right, or they don't think they spelled it right, or if they think they have a capital letter, hurry up and put it in again.
There you go. Come on, guys.
Thank you, Todd Hall.
Lord Imp says he's read my copy of Inhumanoids at least 3 times. Thank you, Lord Imp.
Wow.
Thank you, Brother Matt. That's an extremely humbling comment right there. I really appreciate you.
That's
Here
awesome.
we go. 10 seconds. Type in LBL. No caps. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spin it, Krista. Hold up just 1 second, Mr. Duffy. I have to go to bed too. I have to get up at 4 a.m., buddy. Spin that wheel. You might.
Thank you, Hawk.
Julie.
Julie.
Billy.
Congratulations, Julie.
S828.
S828. Julie S828.
All right.
Okay.
We have 2 more things we're going to give away. They will be 8x10 prints of Bart's artwork.
Right,
Yeah.
my humanoid artwork.
Yes, we have 2 of them. So
So we're going to spin the wheel twice more, guys. You have 2 more chances to win. Okay.
Let me get this going.
This has really been an enjoyable live stream, and
Fun.
thanks to everyone for coming in, viewing it with us, and everyone in the chat room. We love you guys. We see most of you every time, you know. We hop around from one live stream to another and support each other. And that's how you're supposed to do it. All right. The word for a signed art print from me is inhumanoid. Now,
All right.
take a second. Inhumanoid with no caps. Please type in inhumanoid if you want a signed art print. Some of my inhumanoid art. Here we go. Get them in there.
I'm starting to see them flood in.
Takes a little bit longer to type that one in.
Right. Give them a few seconds.
Yeah.
Now you can either frame this art or use it on the bottom of your bird cage, whichever you.
Well, I have a couple behind me that I got from you, and I've got them. They're sitting on my chest here.
And we appreciate
Yeah, we
that.
sure do.
I got them framed. So.
Well, thank you. You know how much we love you, girls. You
Love you guys too.
Overbuilt, if you
Definitely.
do happen to get that book, you send it to us. Send me your information, and you can send that book to us, and Bart will sign it for you and ship it back to you.
I sure will.
Won't be no problem.
Okay, guys. Inhumanoid. Singular. Inhumanoid. No
Yep.
cap. 10 seconds. Mr. Duffy has to go to bed. He has to get up early. He's got to work. I feel you, Mr. Duffy. I do too.
Oh, yeah.
5 seconds. Type in inhumanoid if you're interested in a copy of this book. I'm sorry.
Art print.
Art print. Yes. Okay.
And they will be signed. They will be signed.
Each one will be signed by myself. Okay, 5 seconds, guys. Type it in. 4, 3, 2, 1. Shastanoid. Linda. Dare you say that. Spin that wheel, Krista. Let's go. Let's see who the lucky winner is of this one. Jesse.
Jesse.
Rensselaer.
Ooh,
Jesse Van Rensselaer. Jesse, congratulations.
Van Sselar. Okay.
Hope you enjoy the art
Got
print.
Got it. Thank
We
you.
have one more to give away. So
Last chance.
Last
chance.
last chance to win coming right up. Another art print, a different one. Sparky, good night, Sister Sparky. We love you.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay. Congratulations, Jesse.
Dogman.
The next one is Dogman. No caps, please. The last giveaway tonight, Dogman. Type in Dogman with no caps. Come on, guys, get it in there. I wish we had enough for everyone to win something. This is the last one. Get in the Dogman. No caps, please. Fantastic.
Look at that. Woo. Here they go. I'm just watching them flood it.
They're adding up, man. I can see like how many entries. It's quite a few.
Thank you, Jesse, for tuning in the past few weeks. Thanks to everyone that's been tuning in and watching us and supporting us and commenting on our videos. We love you guys. Without you, we would not be here. Dogman, type it in. No caps, please.
Everybody's doing really good with that one.
Yes, everybody's doing really good.
Got 92 entries so far.
Come on, guys. Let's get 8 more entries.
Oh, they're coming. Slowly but surely. They're coming.
Okay.
She should have it by now.
I think we got more than that by now.
Ready?
Yep.
Okay, well, this is the last one. I want everybody to have a chance to type it in and have a chance to win this. So
I may have a surprise. Go ahead.
here we go, guys. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Spin the wheel, Krista.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117,
And the winner is Eloria Neely.
All right.
Congratulations, Eloria. You have just won a
Congratulations.
signed art print of one of my inhumanoid sketches. Thank you
Very
so
cool.
much. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Wow, congratulations to
you have a
everybody.
surprise,
That's
man.
awesome.
I
Are
do
we
have
done?
a surprise.
You do have a
One
surprise?
more thing, just real quick. So
What's that? I'm sorry.
I have one more thing I want to say real quick. I'm gonna flip to my. I gotta find my page real quick. I have two things I want to give. It'll be 2 8x10 art prints. No spinning, no wheels. I just got two people I want to shout out to and give to. So I need these two people. If you can read it, Jitesh Patel and Sugar Britches. Send me your information.
Awesome.
I'm gonna
Very
send
cool.
you an 8x10 print.
Yes. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Sugar
Congratulations,
Richard.
everybody.
Congratulations to everyone that's won tonight. I hope you guys had a great time tonight. I hope you learned something. Bob from Michigan is telling the truth. I've been talking to him for several months now, and his stories don't change. And if I didn't think he was telling the truth, he would not be on my show. So hope you learned something. I hope we had a little fun here at the end and showed you our appreciation for your support and your being here. We love you guys. God bless, and we'll see you all next Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. Thanks, and be safe out there. See you next week.
Good night.
Bye, everybody.
Make sure that you send all your information to lmsmith1970@hotmail.com. Bart's email is too full, and I'll be taking care of the prizes.
LMSmith1970@hotmail.com. All you winners, let's have your addresses so we can get your prizes out. And thank you all. God bless all of you, each and every one of you. Thank you all, and we'll see you next Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. Thanks again, Jitesh. You are certainly a great human being, and we appreciate you. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night. Are you going to do it or you want me to?
I'm
Okay.
here. Bye.
Hit the